If offense sells tickets and pitching wins championships, then where in this game of baseball do we account for simple fate? It was 2 years ago. A young Yankee fan reached out, grabbed a ball, and perhaps won a playoff game for his team, the Yankees. Last year, the Indians got a victory when a pass ball looked like a foul tip. And then, just 2 nights ago, Martinez got a hurry and he didn't get it. And going to third will be Wilson. Nobody gonna get the ball. Wilson's coming home. He tripped. Right to the plate. He's safe. Was it runner interference? Should Knobloch have retrieved the ball anyway? Well, what mattered to Cleveland? They tied the series at 1. Will the fickle finger of fate make an appearance here at Jacobs Field? The plot thickens. Game 3 of the American League Championship Series. Major League Baseball International's coverage of the American League Championship Series brings us to Cleveland, Ohio, and Jacobs Field, where tonight the New York Yankees come to town to take on the Cleveland Indians in a series tied at 1 game apiece. A great baseball tradition here in Cleveland, the city by the lake, and a jam-packed ballpark for Game 3. Hello, everybody. I'm Gary Thorne along with Ken Singleton. Welcome. Delighted to have you with us around the world. Before we go to Game 3, we have to go back to Game 2.
Rangers in a division series and won that start.
Now, note the first half of the season, some very fine numbers. He tailed off in the second half a bit, so the Yankees were wondering how much would they use him in the postseason. He's answered that for the moment because of that division series Game 2. A very strong 7 innings, only 1 run, and he struck out 8. His opponent tonight comes from the Dominican Republic.
And a young, hard-throwing right-hander, Bartolo Colon. Bartolo Colon had a so-so second half, but stepped it up in the division series against the Red Sox. He did give up a home run to Nomar Garciaparra that might have startled him for the moment, but he really settled down after that, and he pitched the Cleveland Indians to a victory in the ball game, and eventually they went on to win that series, and now they're beating the Yankees.
Now, those first half numbers for Bartolo Colon were good enough to get him on the All-Star team, but note how they went negative in the second half. That 3.19 ERA, second most of any major league pitcher this season. So we come to the Jake for Game 3, a ballpark that just rocks with these Cleveland fans. How much of a home field advantage?
Well, you got 44,000 fans on your side. That's got to help you. But the Yankees, if they score early in the ball game and take the lead, maybe they can silence the crowd and have it their way here in Cleveland tonight.
When we come back, we'll take a look at some numbers here at Jacobs Field, not for the Indians, but for the New York Yankees, and they are good ones. That and the game when we return to Cleveland, Ohio. Welcome back, everybody. The Jake in Cleveland on a beautiful fall evening. It'll be a little cool, but the wind that blows off the Lake Erie here in the city of Cleveland tonight is rather calm. That can change without a moment's notice, in fact, and has had impacts on games played here. But tonight, at least for the start of this ball game, there's not going to be much of a wind and a real comfortable evening here for this game. Kenny, we were talking about the home field advantage for the Indians, but they recognize, as do the Yankees, that this ballpark has been a very friendly park for the New York Pinstripes.
Yeah, they come in here and they seem to play very, very well. Look at the career at Jacobs Field for the New York Yankees. They're 18-8. Better than the Indians, who have played at a .630 clip of 230 and 135. The Yankees score 6 runs per game, a little bit more than the Indians. They've hit well, and the ERA a little bit worse than the Indians here at Jacobs Field. But the Yankees, for some reason, they come in here to Cleveland and they play well against this very good Cleveland Indian ball club.
So we'll see just how that goes. The umpires come out and the fans are giving the umpires a standing ovation, which is somewhat of a mock cheer, if you will, derogatory towards the umpires who they feel made calls that helped the Indians win that game, especially the call that we just previewed for you in the 12th inning at first base.
Well, none of the umpires got a cheer bigger than Chuck Knobloch did when he was introduced before the game. It was something to behold, a standing ovation for a visiting player who was Ted Hendry was the home plate umpire and the one who was responsible for that call in the 12th inning on Wednesday. But Knobloch's ovation was something special, to say the least.
It was unbelievable. They booed all the Yankees except Knobloch, and when he was introduced, they gave him a standing ovation. So the umpires have been under a lot of press criticism. Ted Hendry for the ball and strike zone that he had, as well as the play at first base. And that will continue on in this series because now it's become part of the game, part of the series. The umpires are simply under a great deal of scrutiny from players, fans, and especially the media.
Well, especially the media, because all the replays are available to everybody upstairs here, and of course the fans at home. They saw the balls and strikes calls. Joe Torre mentioned they were horrible for both sides. Mike Hargrove didn't have much to say about it, but the fact is that there are certain umpires who are better ball strike umpires than others, and the umpire tonight behind home plate, John Shulock, is one of the best. And I don't think you will see the players, Chuck Knobloch included, turning around and questioning Mr. Shulock, who has the mask in his hand there, about balls and strikes.
Cleveland takes the field. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for the New York Yankees. Chuck Knobloch at second base. Derek Jeter at short. Paul O'Neill will be in right field. Bernie Williams from Puerto Rico in center. Tito Martinez at first base. Jamaican-born Chili Davis will be the designated hitter tonight. His first start as the DH. Shane Spencer, the rookie in left field. Scott Brocious at third base. And Joe Girardi will be doing the catching and batting ninth.
Well, you're looking at 23-year-old Bartolo Colon, 14-9 record, 3.71 earned run average. Started once against the Yankees this year, and was part of a shutout victory for the Indians, 11-0. He worked 8 innings, 3 hits, struck out 10, and walked 5 in that game. You can see his season numbers. He had a good enough first half to make the All-Star team, as Gary mentioned. Kind of struggled in the second half. The Indians actually shut him down for 13 days while he complained of a dead arm, and he came back very strong and won a game against the Boston Red Sox in a division series. We're going to check out the defense behind Bartolo Colon in tonight's ball game. In the infield, it's going to be Fryman, Vizquel, Wilson at second base tonight, and Jim Thome at first base. In the outfield, Witten, Lofton, and Ramirez. Alomar doing the catching for Bartolo Colon. Now we have Mark Witten highlighted in left field. Now he's got a very strong arm. Runners don't run against him, but he started this year playing out of the country. He was playing in Mexico in the Mexican League, did very well down there, and was signed by the Indians as a free agent.
So he'll get the start in this game. There is John Shulock, who'll be working the plate. The veteran home plate umpire, Larry Young, Tim Welke, Jim McKee, and Jim Evans, and Ted Hendry. 6 umpires in postseason play, 4 during the regular season. They had the umpires down the left and right field lines. And probably for tonight's game, Ted Hendry is just as happy to be down the right field line, where he may hope to avoid some notice, although the fans are already talking to him.
Well, there can be some controversial calls on home runs hit down the line and fair balls, so that, you know, when you're an umpire, you're never out of the fans' reach.
Cleveland does not like the Yankees, period. This has been a great rivalry for a long time. Chuck Knobloch, listen to the Indian fans on Knobloch being announced. There is what's known as a Bronx cheer, defined as such from old days at Yankee Stadium and how they used to give derisive cheers to the opponents. Well, that's just what Chuck Knobloch got from the Indian fans. Thank you, Chuck, for the play you didn't make at first base, is what Cleveland's saying to him. Think he'd like to have a big game?
Well, if Knobloch gets a couple of hits, they'll go back to booing him.
Yes, they will. Fouled off, underway here in game 3. Bartolo Colon taking on Knobloch to lead this ball game off.
You might notice right away that Travis Fryman is playing very deep at third base, and even with Knobloch's speed, he does not attempt the bunt very often.
And he's got a base hit, wouldn't you know it? So that'll quiet the crowd. Witten will get it back in, and Knobloch just his second hit of the series, 2 for 12, a leadoff single.
That's the reason why I mentioned the bunt, the fact that he hasn't had many hits in the postseason, division series, and now into this series. But Knobloch does not bunt very often, even for a guy who has pretty good speed. You can see him drill a fastball in the middle of the plate into left field for the base hit. One thing that Charles Nagy did in game 2, he put the ball on the corners. Jared Wright did not do that in game 1. Bartolo Colon, with all the speed and power that he has in his fastball, he is not a spot type pitcher. He's a blowaway type pitcher. Somebody just throws it by hitters.
Bartolo Colon will keep an eye on Knobloch over at first base. Derek Jeter, 3 hits and 9 at bats. Speaking of guys who don't bunt very often, there's another one at the plate. Now moving in at third is Travis Fryman, but Jeter's not asked to bunt very often.
Every once in a while, particularly after Knobloch, if he does steal second, Jeter lays down the bunt.
Wouldn't you know it, Bartolo Colon will play it over to first base. So Derek Jeter, his second sacrifice bunt in the postseason. And the Yankees working to manufacture a run here in the first inning, get a runner down. He had 3 sacrifices during the regular season.
Now maybe they're thinking about scoring early and kind of cutting the crowd out of this ball game. There's the bunt by Jeter, a good one. Anytime he gets the ball down, he has excellent speed. You're going to have to hustle to make the play. Colon fields his position well, throws out Jeter.
Now here's where both teams have struggled, the Yankees in particular, and that's getting big hits to drive in runs. Yankees have had a lot of chances with runners in scoring position in this series and have not been able to produce. This is one of their big RBI men during the regular season. Paul O'Neill, who finished 10th in the league in runs batted in. Runner at second base, and a fastball misses inside to O'Neill from Bartolo Colon.
One thing you'll notice about Paul O'Neill, he stands pretty far away from home plate. And when a hitter does that, that tells you that he actually likes the ball out away from him. Pitchers are lulled into a false sense of security, thinking they can hit that outside corner. That's where he actually likes the ball. He strides into it and hits the ball well to the opposite field.
Bartolo Colon away again. The Yankees in game 1 went 5 for 16 with runners in scoring position and winning the ball game. In game 2 that they lost, they were 1 for 13, so 6 for 29 with runners in scoring position so far in this series. 23-year-old right-hander, 14 and 9, Bartolo Colon. Knobloch off second base, and O'Neill chased one that time a little bit. 2-1.
Looked like some sort of an off-speed pitch. Colon learning more and more to become a pitcher. He's going to get better as he gets more experience in the major leagues. That was a changeup. This is his first full season in the majors.
He will throw the fastball most of the time, has a curve and a slider and a changeup he's working on to go with it. Knobloch, decent lead at second base, and O'Neill fouls it back. That'll even the count up, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Late on the fastball. What did Mike Hargrove tell us before the game? Colon, 95, sometimes 99, and a few times he's hit 100 miles an hour with his fastball.
Mike Hargrove, their skipper, and here are the Cleveland fans on their feet.
Well, you see this tradition throughout Major League Baseball. When a pitcher gets 2 strikes on a hitter, the home fans get up. They want the strikeout. They like to see the power.
1 down, 1 on. Colon with a 2-2 count. And O'Neill takes it inside. Bartolo Colon tried to catch O'Neill leaning out over the plate and get him on a 3rd strike.
Yeah, that's John Shulak. That pitch was not a strike. It was just inside. He's going to make these pitchers hit the corners as opposed to what you saw the other day with Ted Hendry calling pitches 2 and 3, maybe 4, maybe 5, 6 inches off the plate strikes.
Paul O'Neill, 2 RBIs so far in the postseason. Has a chance for his 3rd here. 3-2, no throw at second base. Vizquel, the shortstop, moved over, but Knobloch had plenty of time to get back.
Another thing that you will see from John Shulak, wherever the catcher sets up, he will move accordingly. Now, on this previous pitch, Sandy Alomar had set up inside, and that's where John Shulock moved over, expecting the ball right there. See where that?
3-2 ground ball. Vizquel on the scoop, running throw, got him. Over to third base, Knobloch with 2 down. And how about Travis Fryman is having a discussion with Knobloch. Travis Fryman was the runner who put that bunt down that hit him in the back. He went over to Knobloch immediately and gave him put his hand on his back as if to say it's all right. Kind of feeling for the guy, an opposing player.
Well, Travis Fryman, you know, he did his job, and Knobloch didn't do his, and maybe just telling him, no, you'll get over this. Maybe they'll forget it one day. If the Yankees go on to win the series, they'll forget it.
Pretty good gesture right there.
Here's Knobloch going to third, and Travis Fryman will come over and say, hey, sorry about all that the other day. That's the way it goes. Hang in there.
Wow. Here's Bernie Williams. Runner at third base, 2 down. Williams, switch hitter, takes the pitch from Cologne, ball 1. Both he and Derek Jeter have had 7-game hit streaks in the League Championship Series play going back to last year. Hit successfully in the first 2 of this and the last 4 from last year. 1-0 count, 2 down, a big base hit, Bernie Williams. Chuck Knobloch scores, and Williams picks up the RBI, and the Yankees take the 1-0 lead.
Now, one of the keys to winning a ball game is scoring early. The team that scores the first run in the game usually wins ball games. Bernie Williams, a pitch out over the plate and up, and he lines it just beyond the reach of Travis Fryman, and the Yankees pick up the first run of the game. And all of a sudden, it's a lot more quiet here at the Jake than it had been just a few moments ago. Chuck Knobloch celebrating, scoring the first run for the Yankees as he did in game 1.
Bernie Williams, that's a big 2-out hit. Martinez takes a called strike. So Knobloch scores the first run of the game, continuing his story in this series, and Bernie Williams gets his 3rd postseason RBI. Now Williams on at first, still 2 down. Bartolo Colon working to Tino Martinez. Martinez down to first. Jim Thome will go to the bag, and that will do it. But the Yankees jump out early off the 23-year-old right-hander. Bernie Williams got the base hit. Knobloch got a little revenge of his own. Yankees get 1. Cleveland coming up when we come back. Major League Baseball International's presentation of the 1998 American League Championship Series being brought to you by MasterCard. Great to have all of you with us around the world. Thanks to all of you who have emailed. We will get to some of the email that we have and answer a couple of questions that we have a chance tonight. Now it'll be the Indians' turn, and for Mike Hargrove, the Indians lineup looks like this. Kenny Lofton leads it off. Omar Vizquel from Venezuela at short. David Justice, Manny Ramirez from the Dominican Republic. Travis Fryman at third base. Jim Thome, Mark Whitten in left. Sandy Alomar to Puerto Rico, and Enrique Wilson gets his first start at second base out of the Dominican Republic. And they will face the Yankee left-hander, Andy Pettitte. Pettitte will go to work. Kenny Lofton's had only 1 hit in the series, 1 for 10. He will draw Brocious in at third base. And ball 1.
And see Brocious guarding against the bunt right away. Kenny Lofton's type of speed. Unlike Knobloch, Lofton will drop down a bunt from time to time.
Doesn't show at that time. Shulock calls a strike of the knees. 1-1.
In fact, when you look at Lofton and Knobloch, they both had kind of down years. They're both the career 300 hitters. Lofton hit 282, Knobloch 265.
And towards second base, Knobloch is there, and Lofton is retired. 26-year-old Andy Pettitte getting the first out.
Well, I know Knobloch scored 117 runs, Kenny Lofton 101, but people feel they could have done a lot better. Let's check out the defense behind Andy Pettitte tonight. For the Yankees in the infield, very solid on the left side. They should be busy. Brocious, Jeter, Knobloch, and Martinez. In the outfield, Spencer Williams and O'Neill. Girardi gets the call behind the plate.
One down, nobody on, and Omar Vizquel, the switch hitter, against the left-hander Pettit. Again in at third base, Scott Brocious, and the pitch is slow and away. Ball one.
Well, he talked about Omar Vizquel's defense quite a bit. Of course, that is outstanding. He should win another Gold Glove, his 6th in a row. But for the 3rd straight year, he's stolen 30 or more bases. His offense sometimes gets overlooked, and he had a career high 166 hits.
Put up some good numbers. He's a big man in that number 2 hole, able to move people around, and a good switch hitter. Regular season, 269 right-handed and 297 left-handed. He only had a couple of home runs. He's not a long ball hitter. 1 home run from each side. Andy Pettit pitches outside to him, and he falls behind 3-0.
There's no doubt in my mind that Omar Vizquel is the most popular of the Cleveland Indians. He got the biggest cheer pre-game.
He'll try and draw a walk right here and get on, probably taking a pitch. 3-0. He does, and he does. No, he doesn't. Yes, he does. One of the problems I'll have tonight as a broadcaster is home plate umpire John Shulock. John Shulock has one of the slowest strike calls in baseball.
Kind of nonchalant, too, if you will. He kind of just throws that arm out casually. And even Omar didn't know whether he's coming or going. But he is actually going forward and back. Discard the bat, then head down to first base. One of the problems for Andy Pettit this year, he walked too many men. Gave up way too many hits. Only gave up 7 home runs in the 1997 season. Gave up 20 this year. So his control was off and struggled at times. He had some hot streaks, but he also had some very cold streaks.
The 8th most walks in the American League were surrendered by Andy Pettit. And he's given up one here to Vizquel. Now David Justice. Justice is the designated hitter. Very fine overall postseason numbers. He has never picked up a hit, though, off Andy Pettit. He is 0 for 6 in his career off this Yankee left-hander. Vizquel being held at first, and Pettit has got one of the best pickoff moves in baseball.
Yeah, I always thought one reason Andy Pettit was a pretty good big game pitcher because he had ways of getting himself out of trouble. Probably has the best pickoff move in the American League. Also got a lot of ground ball double plays, and those are the 2 things that can help pitchers escape trouble.
Vizquel had 12 stolen bases, but he was also caught 10 times in the regular season. And you just can't get a jump on Andy Pettit. The base runner wants to be able to lean towards second base if they're going to be running. With Andy Pettit, you're really leaning back to first base. You're always fearful he's going to make that throw.
You know, the guys he picks off are not the guys like Vizquel and Lofton who are good base stealers, good base runners. It's those unassuming guys that get down to first base, and he picks those guys off to get himself out of trouble.
0-1 count, and Justice takes the pitch inside. 1 ball, 1 strike on David Justice with 1 down.
A lot of people feel that David Justice didn't have a good year. Only 280, 21 homers, 88 runs batted in. Those numbers are somewhat down, but he did have a career high 39 doubles and scored a career high 94 runs.
Vizquel at first base, Justice down to third. Brocious took a bad hop on him, makes a nice play. That ball jumped on him. He thought it was going to go down the line, and it kind of ricocheted back towards him. He was smiling a little bit there, came up with it. Nice play and gets the fourth.
It helps to have quick hands and also a strong arm. See, when the ball hits, he's expecting it to go on the backhand. Instead, it's on the forehand. He throws over to first, second, I should say, and picks up the force play on Omar Vizquel. You see his reaction. Only the quickness of his reflex is able to make this play as they get one. I didn't think they were going to get a double play anyway, but they do get one.
So Brocious helps out defensively. Justice on at first base on the fielder's choice. And now Manny Ramirez up. Let me correct myself on Vizquel. He had 37 stolen bases during the regular season for Omar Vizquel, but he's not on the base paths now. He was retired at second base. Ramirez set big numbers against Pettit. He's a dangerous hitter against the left-hander. Outside to him for a ball. He's 10 for 25 with 2 home runs lifetime for Ramirez off Andy Pettit of the Yankees. This has been their driving force here in the postseason. A couple of hits in 8 at-bats in this series for Ramirez. Justice isn't going anywhere. first base, and a 2-0 count.
Managers like to stack hitters together in lineups that do well against a particular pitcher. And Ramirez and Fryman on deck. Mike Hargrove has two of the tougher hitters on Andy Pettit in the American League. Both of these guys have semi-worn him out during their time in the American League, and his as well.
Yankees have the 1-0 lead, bottom of the first inning with 2 down. Justice at first base, 2-0 delivery. And the inside corner taking that time, 2-1 on Ramirez.
Andy Pettit has various weapons. He has a fastball. He has a cutter that's like a slider that moves in on the hands of right-handed hitters. He also has a changeup that will move away from the right-handers and a sinking fastball. So he has various ways to get people out. It's just a matter of having his control, which he had against the Texas Rangers.
That's what you were talking about, Ken, right there. You saw Justice jump back. He's not a base stealer at all, and he almost got caught.
He's got a very short lead over at first base. I mean, if he fell down, diving back, he'd fall into foul territory. That's how close he was. But the fact is, Pettit's reputation precedes him. And the guys who aren't good base stealers or base runners, they don't take much of leads.
Justice isn't getting one over there.
Look how small that is. I mean, if he fell down flat, he would certainly reach the bat.
One thing he doesn't want to have happen is to get picked off over there at first base.
Yeah, certainly when you're down by a run, you got Ramirez at the plate. He's not going anywhere. He's going to let Ramirez hit and try and hit something hard.
2-1 strike count on Manny Ramirez. Series tied 1 apiece. Next 3 games right here in Cleveland, and we will have them for you. All 3 over the weekend, Friday, tonight, and Saturday and Sunday. 2-1 delivery. Chop, foul. Big home run cut. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
That looked like an off-speed pitch, and what pitchers have to do against the good hitters like Ramirez and Fryman, who's up next, they have to read the bat. Even though he fouled that pitch off, Andy Pettit has to look at what type of swing he had at him, where the pitch was, and it looked like he had a pretty good cut on a pitch that was down. When a hitter's a good low ball hitter, you have to pitch him just a little further down, trying to make him chase, and that's what Ramirez just did on that pitch. He likes the ball knee or thigh high. Maybe you have to throw it just a little bit lower than the knee to get him to hit that ground ball.
2-ball, 2-strike count on Ramirez, who's got 12 postseason home runs. If he can get a couple more, I mean, he's joined the elite already. He's tied for 4th all time in postseason home runs. Mickey Mantle and Reggie Jackson with 18 are tied for 1st. Babe Ruth, Yogi Berra are 3rd and 4th in that department of postseason homers. Ramirez rocks that one into left field for a base hit. Pettit hung it high. Justice will stop at second base. 2 on, 2 down.
I think fans are looking at one of the up-and-coming stars in this league. Now, he's had some good years, but I have the feeling, you talk about 50 home runs, he's on the verge of doing that one season. There's that pitch about thigh high I was talking about, and he drilled it into left field for the base hit. A solid shot. Brocious didn't have a chance.
So Ramirez delivers the base hit. That'll be the first hit for the Indians off Andy Pettit. And now 1st and 2nd with 2 down, and Travis Fryman. Kenny said big numbers off Pettit, 12 for 27 in his career. First ball hitting, but right at him in left field. He got it. Spencer hauls it in. An atom ball off the bat of Fryman. No runs, a base hit. And Cleveland leads 2 here in the 1st inning. They've completed 1 at the Jake in Cleveland. The Indians trailing 1-0. A city which has rejuvenated itself downtown with lots of new businesses and buildings, and this ballpark, Jacobs Field, situated in downtown Cleveland, has had a huge impact on this city. Jeffrey Mayer was the young man in Yankee Stadium who reached out and pulled a ball in that wasn't going to be a home run, but ended up being a home run. Cleveland fans saying, hey, sometimes it evens itself up. Chili Davis is the designated hitter. Tim Raines out of the lineup tonight. He missed 100. This man missed 118 games with a tendon ligament problem in his right ankle. He was supposed to be the DH all year. Didn't work out that way.
Yeah, injured in the 4th game of the season, underwent surgery, didn't come back to play until September. And Joe Torre tried to get him as many at bats as possible, speaking of Chili Davis, to get him ready for the postseason. I think this is a tough matchup for Chile because of the fact that Bartolo Colon throws so hard and throws a high fastball. Chile's more of a low fastball hitter.
He's a switch hitter who really now has to bat left-handed, Ken, not right-handed anymore.
Yeah, his right-handed 3 home runs that he did hit in September all came right-handed. So he did have a hit the other night in a pinch hitting role at Yankee Stadium. But that was a low fastball.
Yep. A 1-ball 2-strike count. Bartolo Colon struck out 158 in 204 innings during the regular season. That big fastball that he likes to bring in. 9-4 here at home. 1-2 delivery way up high.
You see how Colon's trying to keep everything upstairs. Chile's one of the most popular of the Yankees, though, even though he was away for most of the season. Mark Wiley, the pitching coach, looking on. In fact, a lot of the Yankees, underneath their shirts, they wear a T-shirt that says Chili Dog, D-A-W-G.
Almost all of them. 2-ball 2-strike count. Throwing heat about 96, 97 miles an hour. You see Sandy Alomar saying, get it down, get it down. Alomar going out in front of home plate to talk to him now.
Usually the mechanics are off a bit when you're throwing the ball that high. And, for a young pitcher like Colon, who throws so hard, sometimes you try and rear back and throw a little bit extra, but you end up messing up your mechanics and you can't get the ball where you want to.
Now a 3-ball 2-strike count on Davis, the leadoff batter here in the second inning for the Yankees. And he didn't get it down. Pitch is way up and out of the strike zone, and Alomar is going out to talk to him. A leadoff walk to Davis here in the second inning.
Now the good thing about it, and it might be a very subtle thing here, is the fact by walking Chili Davis, he now has to work from the stretch. Maybe he'll have better control working from the stretch. We'll have to wait and see.
The leadoff man is on. Mike Hargrove and the coaching staff, obviously in talking to them, concerned about this start. They just didn't know. They don't know what they're going to get out of this young right-hander. So they're a bit tentative on it. Shane Spencer, the 26-year-old rookie, coming up. Colon has put the leadoff man on now in both the first and second innings. It was Knobloch with a single in the first who scored. Now Davis on. Colon does not have a good move to first base to hold runners. Davis is not a base stealer, the runner over there right now.
He was at one time early in his career, but not anymore. Here is Shane Spencer, a good fastball hitter, good fastball pitcher. Mike Hargrove, did you get the idea that he felt like Jared Wright and Bartolo Colon fall into the same category? Young, hard throwing pitchers, but sometimes you just don't know what you're going to get.
I don't think, he hasn't announced it yet, strike taken. I don't think Jared Wright's going to start another game.
He's penciled in for game 5. That's his turn.
I think Chad Ojay is going to make that start.
Yeah, I saw Chad coming into the clubhouse today, and I congratulated him on the way he pitched coming in relief the first game. I get the feeling we'll see him again.
I just don't think Hargrove has enough confidence in Wright, who's had 2 bad postseason starts. Put him in again. And he's having trouble right now with this guy. 2-1 count. And Hargrove intently watching Bartolo Colon. He told us before the game, Kenny, they've worked with this youngster over the past 2 months, tried everything to get him mentally ready to pitch and get his motion set so he doesn't change up on it all the time. Fouled off to the plate, 2-2.
Okay, this is a previous pitch that Bartolo threw. Now watch him drive through and bring that right knee down. And Mark Wiley's coming out to talk to him right now, and I think it probably has something to do with his mechanics and getting the ball down. Just one little inference to the pitcher might make him think about something, and he'll do it. He'll change his style just a little bit and help him get the ball lower into the strike zone. He continues to throw the ball high. He's going to walk a lot of men. Even in the game that he beat the Yankees and pitched 8 innings of a shutout game, he did walk 5 in that one. But he did strike out 10.
Ken, it was interesting. Hargrove's telling us before the game with Colon. He said the first half of the season he was so strong and threw so hard that he thought pitching was going to be easy. And then suddenly in the second half with his arm got a little bit tired. He wasn't throwing quite as hard, not in the strike zone as much. He couldn't get people out. He didn't know what to do. And that's what he's been working on for the second half of the year. 2-2 delivery. He got that one in there. First strikeout for Bartolo Colon. Spencer retired.
Yeah, the relationship between pitcher and pitching coach and hitter and hitting coach. Let's watch all the pitches thrown by Colon to Shane Spencer. Fastball up high. It's kind of standing straight up. Another one in there for a called strike. Next one high and outside. Again, he stands up a little bit too much. Got that one to move a little bit inside for a foul ball. Then blew one right on by him. He's a blow-by type pitcher.
So Spencer retired. First strikeout of the game for Bartolo Colon. Mark Wiley may have said something that helped because the last couple of pitches have been down and in the strike zone. Scott Brocious 3 for 8 in the series. Chili Davis still on at first. Yankees lead it 1-0 and 1 down. A big postseason for Brocious. Right field. Ramirez. 2 down.
Well, there's the difference between ballparks. That might have been a home run at Yankee Stadium. Here in Cleveland, it's a little deeper to right field, and the ball is caught. Scott Brocious, one thing he changed from last year, he's going the other way with the ball a lot better than this year. Last year with the Oakland A's, he hit .203. This year with the Yankees, he hit an even .300 by going the other way.
It's an interesting ballpark. Players really like playing here. It is not symmetrical. 325 you see, 370, 375 power alleys, and a deep 410 to center. And center field here, that 410 really is one little crevice. If you look right behind the center fielder, it's 405 where the center fielder plays, but a little bit to the left of center is where you have that corner. That corner to the left side, that's where it's 410.
A lot of nooks and crannies in this ballpark that make chasing balls in the outfield very interesting.
That'll be a foul ball, and Joe Girardi will come back. Chili Davis at first base. Now there are 2 down. Girardi 0 for 3 in this series. Bartolo Colon trying to get the final out here. There's Girardi, who continues with Jorge Posada to share the catching duties for the Yankees as they did during the regular season.
I mentioned Colon striking out 10 Yankees. That was a game that was earlier this year when the Indians won 11-0. Only 3 other pitchers struck out 10 Yankees in a game this year. So he was in select company.
1 ball, 1 strike delivered, and Girardi takes it outside 2-1.
And I'm sure you'll recognize the name of one of them. It was Roger Clemens who struck out 10 Yankees. Jamie Moyer of the Seattle Mariners struck out 11 Yankees, and Masato Yoshii of the Mets in an interleague game struck out 10 New York Yankees.
2-1 count. Bartolo Colon needs sent out to get out of the inning, and he won't get it here. Base hit. Davis, the turn at second base, will stay there as Lofton gets it back in. So Joe Girardi comes through in the number 9 hole in the lineup with a single. And now the Yankees have 2 on with 2 down, and that'll be hit number 3 off Bartolo Colon.
Well, the thing about having a runner in scoring position is always good, but Chili Davis at second might be the slowest of all the Yankees, so it's going to have to be a hit that is not directly at an outfielder that will score him. Here's Joe Girardi getting his first hit of the American League Championship Series, a solid single to center field.
2 on, 2 down. Now the leadoff batter, Chuck Knobloch. Many have said the game of baseball is great theater. Knobloch has already proved that. Now he's got a chance to maybe do something here in scene 1, act 2. He comes out and leads the game off with a single, ends up scoring the first Yankee run on Bernie Williams' base hit. When he goes out defensively, the first ball hit is Kenny Lofton's ground ball to who? Chuck Knobloch. Now he's up for the second time, and he's got runners on at first and second with 2 down. That's theater. Shakespeare used to write like that. And baseball has a way of recreating Shakespeare.
2 runners on. 3 strong outfield arms for the Cleveland Indians. All 3 of those outfielders throw well.
1-0 the count. And a fastball there for a strike. 1-1.
I'm trying to think of a Shakespeare play that would be appropriate at this time. There's Whitten in left field. Kenny Lofton led the league in assists, and Manny Ramirez has done it in the past in right field. So all three of ththese guys can throw. It happened one night.
12th night.
Yeah.
That would work. Et tu, Brute? How are they going to translate that in Mandarin? A 1 ball, 1 strikeout. Knobloch asking for the timeout, adjusting. He's got enough equipment going there to start a store. Got that protector on the elbow. Alone with a 1-1. Missed outside with it. 2 balls and 1 strike.
That might have been a strike on Wednesday, but it's not going to be a strike here on Friday. Or for those of you watching far east of us, on Saturday. Here's that last pitch. A little outside for a ball. Like I said, John Shulock's going to make you clip a corner to get a strike call. Not tonight.
Knobloch, a .244 hitter with runners in scoring position.
John Shulock, a 20-year veteran. There's Ted Henry, been in the league 21 years.
Fouled that one off on a fastball. He really brought that one up with some mustard on it. 2-2. And again, the Cleveland fans up, wanting the strikeout. Two on, 2 down. Deuce is wild. 2-2 delivery. Fastball fouled off again. Couldn't get around on a good pitch down and away.
Down and away. The best you could do is spoil it, and Knobloch did so. So as baseball players say, you'll live to see another pitch.
That was a good pitch.
And fast too.
Mike Hargrove saying at the end of the year when we took Bartolo Colon out of the rotation for a couple of games, wasn't because really that we thought his arm was tired. We just thought mentally he wasn't ready to pitch. His arm doesn't look tired here. Again, the 2-2 delivered to Knobloch and a towering pop-up first base side. Jim Thome, he'll be called off by Alomar, who puts it away. I don't know if Shakespeare said it, but all good things come to those who wait. Knobloch's going to have to wait. 1-0 Yankees. Shall we dine, dear, while watching the game?
Nice shrimp cocktail, maybe some caviar. They don't make ballparks like they used to.
No, they don't. Peanuts and hot dogs? I don't think so. Caviar, shrimp cocktail, and a glass of vino.
And Jim Thome.
1-0 lead. Yankees on top, bottom half of the second inning. It'll be Jim Thome leading it off, then Witten and Alomar for the Cleveland Indians. The Indians were 46-35 here at the Jake this year. Inside ball 1. But the New York Yankees won more games on the road than anybody. Yankees had a tremendous season overall and were 52-29 away from Yankee Stadium. An incredible record of road wins for a baseball team. Thome will take that pitch up high, and Andy Pettitte falls behind Jim Thome. 2-0.
You saw the reaction of Thome after the first pitch, which was in on the hands. Andy Pettitte hit him earlier. Had a game here in Cleveland this year near the forearm and wrist, and Thome had to leave the game. And that was about a week before he was hit again by Wilson Alvarez and had his hand broken.
And Andy Pettitte now struggling up high. A 3-0 count on Thome. Pettitte has walked 1.
Pettitte did not walk anybody in his last start in the division series against Texas. And that was one of the first things he mentioned, that he was proud of the fact that he got the ball where he wanted to. It hasn't been that way early in this game.
87 walks, 216 innings. The 8th highest in the American League. He walked as many as 7 in a game. He did that twice. That gets the pitcher in trouble, especially if they end up being leadoff walks. 3-ball, 1-strike count on Jim Thome. He'll rip that one deep center field at the Jake. Williams back looking. Goodbye. Home run. Tie game.
Walks are dangerous by themselves, but really what sets up home runs, falling behind on the count and having to come in with a pitch that is much too fat. This one's almost right down the middle, about belt high, right in Jim Thome's happy zone.
Thome now has 3 postseason home runs this year and has tied this ball game up at 1-1 on the Indians' second hit off Andy Pettitte. Thome's first home run in this series. Witten, 1-1. Jim Thome really rocked that ball. He was 3 for 9 against Pettitte in his career, but had never had a home run off this left-hander. Wasn't much question about that one. 8 of the 20 home runs Andy Pettitte gave up during the regular season, 8 were given up to left-handed batters.
Here's a look at it from a side angle. You might get a good view of a major league home run and the reaction of Jim Thome as he rounds the bases. Yep, he knew it was gone. Yeah, it's a good feeling.
Thome had 18 home runs during the regular season here at the Jake. 12 on the road. That's a fair ball by Witten into the corner. Spencer over to get it. And a stand-up double for Witten.
The Indians have hit several balls very hard in the first 2 innings against Andy Pettitte, which tells you he's getting the ball up. He's not as overpowering as Bartolo Colon. He can't really blow it by him. He has to rely on his control. There it is, about middle of the plate, thigh high. Hitters can lift up on these balls or hit solid line drives. And this one is headed for a 2-base hit and the corner for Mark Witten. Remember the single by Ramirez? That was hit hard. The line out by Fryman was a line shot. The home run by Thome, well, a home run's hit hard. And now the double by Witten.
Sandy Alomar looking to bunt. Takes a strike on the outside corner. Alomar, as you see, has struggled a bit in the postseason, as he did at the end of the regular season. But when you ask Sandy Alomar to bunt with a runner in scoring position and nobody out.
Well, you're trying to build another run here, and the Yankees and Derek Jeter expect him to try. He's not bunting here.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Look at the power numbers and the difference. 21 home runs in an all-star season. 83 runs batted in. A big drop-off. I did mention his knee problem. He's going to need surgery at the end of the season. That could have something to do with offensive numbers.
1-1 delivery to him. Alomar chops it foul. For Sandy Alomar, the season comparison you just looked at, that drop off, he was the only player in the majors who had 400 at-bats and batted below 240 and had 10 or fewer home runs. And Hideki Arabu is warming up for the Yankees. On the left, Stottlemyre pitching coach with 1-2 delivery. Grounded towards second base. Knobloch will make the play, but Alomar being applauded for moving that runner over.
As you would think from the home crowd, they applaud the fact that he had a productive out by moving the runner over to third base. So Alomar first thought about bunting, but still got the job done to move Witten to third. And you can see how his teammates react. Setting up a run here, a pitch. You see not Torrey, but Girardi setting up outside. The pitch is that way, and Alomar follows through. Gets the ball hit to the right side of the infield, and Chuck Knobloch.
Now, as we've seen in this series, the infield is drawn in early in the game. Enrique Wilson with a runner at third and 1 down. Ken and I talked with Mike Hargrove about this. Joe Torre's doing the same thing. They both feel a lot of runs aren't going to be scored, and they're trying to cut off runs early in the game.
Yeah, and you have Enrique Wilson at the plate. He was the one who hit the grand slam off of Andy Pettitte at Yankee Stadium on September the 21st.
Wilson, a chopper. That's going to score a run. A base hit through the drawn-in infield. Enrique Wilson. And Cleveland has a 2-1 lead. Enrique Wilson, his first postseason RBI.
Andy Pettitte goes from a 1-run lead to 1 run down on this swing by Wilson. Wasn't well hit, but it was well placed. The middle of the infield is open with the infielders in. It's a base hit that looks like a solid line drive in the paper tomorrow. There's Wilson's hit that scores Whitten from third base. Remember the ground ball by Sandy Alomar, who set all of this up. Little things mean a lot in tight ball games, and that will look like a big play to his teammates right now, even bigger than it was at the time.
So Enrique Wilson is on at first base, 1 down. Kenny Lofton and Wilson back. Wilson, remember, got a great hand when he came out here, was introduced before the game because he's the one who stumbled and bumbled his way home on that controversial play in game 2 at first base. And since they won, he can laugh about it as he tripped going around third. Kenny Lofton rounded out his first time up. Squares to bunt, takes the pitch down low. And Andy Pettitte getting himself in trouble with these hitters by falling behind them, and that will bring Mel Stottlemyre out. Kenny, you mentioned it at the top. Andy Pettitte has tended to have big bad innings during the regular season. He allowed 4 or more runs in an inning 10 times. Big innings will get you out of ball games in a hurry.
Yeah, that was the most by any American League pitcher. 4 runs or more in an inning 10 times this season, and it's one of those that came with that grand slam home run by Enrique Wilson on the 21st at Yankee Stadium.
So both pitchers have had their pitching coach come out and have a word with them early in the game. Irabu is ready in the bullpen if needed. He'll continue to stay warm.
Remember one thing about Hideki Irabu, he's been a starting pitcher all season long, so it will probably take him longer to warm up than a relief pitcher who's used to throwing a few pitches and getting his arm loose.
He has not pitched in 11 days. Irabu. Lofton didn't like the call. 1 ball, 1 strike. But Irabu sent to the pen for the playoffs. May get a shot here.
Joe Torre said that would be his role. He would come in early in ball games if the starter would falter. Try and eat up some innings.
Again, throw to first base, and Enrique Wilson back. 1 down, 1-1 count. Indians have the 2-1 lead. They've picked up 4 hits so far off Andy Pettitte. Kenny Lofton 3 for 22 lifetime off Pettitte. And Joe Torre quietly concerned early in this game, but it is very early in this game. Wilson's got a pretty good lead over there. And a line drive left field, Spencer. Again, a ball hit pretty hard, but it's an out. 2 down.
That's twice that Shane Spencer has had to haul down solid line drives. One off the bat of Travis Fryman in the first inning, and now a line drive off the bat of Kenny Lofton. You know, years ago, playing here at Cleveland on a cold day, the hardest line drive ever hit to me in my career in the outfield was hit by Rico Carding. I was playing right field. He's a right-handed hitter. To the opposite field, that ball hit my glove right on the just below the forefinger of my hand. It hurt for 5 days. I remember that like it was yesterday.
Omar Vizquel, base hit. Spencer up with it. Stopping at second base, Wilson. Vizquel's been on twice now with a walk and a single. 5 hits off Andy Pettitte. Don Zimmer leading in the bench coach to talk to Joe Torre.
Well, Indian fans have come alive here. Talk about taking the crowd out of the game only momentarily. Well, the Yankees took the 1-0 lead. Let's see where the pitch is. Again, a pitch that's up, about belt high. Andy Pettitte, for some reason, can't get the ball down. And he does not have the power that Bartolo Colon has, so they're going to hit it hard. Indians are very good hitting ball club.
Left-handers hit 281 off him during the regular season. Right-handers 271. David Justice, 2 down and 2 on. Justice will take the pitch down low for a ball. Justice looking for his first hit ever off Andy Pettitte. He is 0 for 7 against him.
I've got the feeling if Andy Pettitte does not get David Justice out, we might see Hideki Irabu.
A 2-1 Cleveland lead. Good speed on the base paths in Witten at second base and Enrique Wilson at first. With 2 down, of course, they'll be going on contact. Bumbry over to have a word, first base coach with his base runner.
Joe Torre had a decision to make with Andy Pettitte. I think he went more on Pettitte's past because he's pitched some big games for the Yankees. He's been a big winner following Yankee losses the last few years. And nobody's won more games over the last 3 years in the American League than Andy Pettitte. But he struggled somewhat. A lot of people thought he might not make the rotation.
David Justice looking for a 3-run homer right there. 1 ball, 1 strike. 6 of the 11 Cleveland batters have reached base against Pettitte so far.
Last pitch, good swing by Justice. He wasn't fooled. He just missed it. Good spot, low and away.
Plus, he's had a couple of hard line drive outs off him, so the Indians hit the ball hard off Pettitte. 1 ball, 1 strike. There are 2 down. Justice takes the pitch inside and low, 2-1. Jim Thome started this inning with his 3rd postseason home run. Witten got the double. He got Alomar and the ground ball out. Wilson an RBI single, and now a 2-out single by Vizquel. Justice, the 2-1 delivery to him. Off the end of the bat, the 3rd tag will be made by Scott Brocious, as instead of throwing, he just put the tag on Enrique Wilson. But on Thome's homer and the RBI single by Wilson, the Cleveland Indians have taken a 2-1 lead after 2 at the Jake in Cleveland. Cleveland's got the 2-1 lead, game 3 of the American League Championship Series. And where can you hear live play-by-play audio of all the postseason games and view video highlights? At WorldSeries.com, the official postseason website of Major League Baseball. You can check out San Diego's Ken Caminiti's postseason diary and the items in the online store. And email Ken and I in the booth with baseball questions. We'll be happy to answer on the air. Just log in. Let us know how you're enjoying the telecast. That's www.worldseries.com. It's a sight to see. As we said, we thank you, those of you who have emailed. Ground ball, first ball hitting Derek Jeter. Short shot to shortstop. Vizquel makes the play. Jeter's gone. 1 away.
Well, you just saw 2 American League shortstops that made the All-Star team, and Omar Vizquel and Derek Jeter, picked by Mike Hargrove to fill out the squad. Alex Rodriguez started for the American League at shortstop. But Mike Hargrove was the All-Star manager this year. Joe Torre was one of his coaches. And boy, it's a tough decision making who's going to play shortstop for the American League outside of the one that's voted onto the ball club.
Kind of like to bring them all in, get an inning apiece.
Yeah, you got Nomar Garciaparra, might be the MVP.
Yeah. And
he didn't make the All-Star team.
Rodriguez, Garciaparra, Omar Vizquel, Derek Jeter. That's a whole ball club of shortstops for you. Here's Paul O'Neill. Bartolo Colon would like nothing more than to have a good quick inning here. 1 ball, 1 strike. A 2-1 lead. He has given up 3 hits to the Yankees, including the RBI single by Bernie Williams in the 1st inning. He did get the leadoff man this inning. He didn't do that in the first 2. That pitch is away. 2 ball, 1 strike count.
Yeah, making a statement, if you will, Bartolo Colon, with the Indians coming back and taking the lead. This is an inning where he'd like to shut the Yankees down 1-2-3 and keep the momentum going with Cleveland.
Talking about people who've emailed us, Kenny, a question. University of Auckland student Tim Biron emailed, wanted to know. He said, I hear the term fielder's choice used a lot, but I do not know what that is. What does that mean?
A fielder's choice. We've seen a couple of them in this ball game. In fact, we saw one in last inning. You mentioned fielder's choice when David Justice hit the ground ball. Now he reached safely because the play wasn't made on him, but the out was on Enrique Wilson. So Justice actually reaches base on a fielder's choice while making another out in another place. That's one way. There's various ways of doing it.
So there you go. University of Auckland. Thanks, Tim. O'Neill backs away from that one in a 2-ball, 2-strike count. 3-2 rather. One down, nobody on for the Yankees. O'Neill's continued his strong season here in the postseason.
This had some fire behind it, and up and in has Paul O'Neill bailing out.
He has walked once and struck out only twice in the postseason, and another walk. Bartolo Colon, that's the second walk he has surrendered. This one comes with one away in the third inning, and the middle of the Yankee order coming up with Bernie Williams.
Now with Bernie coming to the plate, he drove in the Yankees' first run, or only run of the ball game in the first inning. Bernie wanted me to say hello to his dad, Burnaby Sr., who's watching back in Puerto Rico along with his mom. So hello in Puerto Rico from Bernie.
And to all of you watching there, thanks for being with us here on Major League Baseball International's coverage, which we will continue to bring you the entire American League Series, and of course we'll follow up with the World Series coverage. Bernie Williams towards short. Omar Vizquel. I got it. He does. Vizquel turns 2, and it took Bartolo Colon only 8 pitches to retire the Yankees and protect a 2-1 lead. Beautiful shot of Jacobs Field here in downtown Cleveland, returning for games 3, 4, and 5 here in Cleveland. If necessary, back to Yankee Stadium for games 6 and/or 7, which would be next Tuesday and Wednesday with a day off Monday. Manny Ramirez fouls it off. How about the National League Championship Series, and the Atlanta Braves, the second best team in baseball, suddenly down 2-0 at home to San Diego.
Yeah, they need a big game from Greg Maddux in game 3 out in San Diego against Sterling Hitchcock, who's pitched pretty well for the Padres in postseason. Braves struggling.
Wow. 0-1 delivery, and that's on the outside corner. Andy Pettitte dropping that one in, and a 2-strike count on Ramirez.
You notice how no hitters turned and looked back at the umpire tonight and said anything? John Shulock has this under control. That's the difference. Certain umpires are better ball strike umpires than others, and I think they should work the plate more often and get more pay.
We were talking about that. You were before the game. In fact, Ted Henry, who took all the abuse for the strike zone, it seemed to fluctuate even in the game. In game 2, Umpires Union Association is a very strong one. That one drilled deep to left field. I say that in light of what you were saying, Kenny. Any attempt to make those kinds of changes will meet with enormous opposition from the umpires.
Once you make it to the major leagues as an umpire, you're usually there until you want to leave. There's a pitch down. Mentioned that Ramirez, good low ball hitter, just a little bit out front. Look at him try and steer that thing into fair territory.
1-2 delivery by Pettitte, and that misses outside. Ramirez picking up that single in his first at bat. Now 3 for 9 in the series. 2-ball, 2-strike count. Ramirez will be followed by Fryman and Tomey. Big sticks. Pettitte's already up to 43 pitches in the game. Foul back. Stays at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Manny Ramirez has had good swings all night long at Andy Pettitte. He's one of the better hitters in the league against what's that, 5, 10, 15? Is it a 20? If it's a 50, I'm going down there and get it.
I can't tell. What is it? 2-2 delivery. Yeah, the players don't make much money, so the fans are just trying to help out.
Yeah.
Toss in a couple of bucks. That's at shortstop, almost on the grass.
Hey, we better watch Jeter coming in.
Right there?
Yeah, we better watch Jeter coming in after the inning's over.
If he gets a ground ball, will he pick up the ball or the bill? Swung on and foul tipped by Ramirez to stay alive at 3-2.
Well, Jeter's got a big contract coming pretty soon.
We will follow the bouncing bill. I think somebody was trying to buy an adult beverage in the stands and it suddenly fly away.
An adult beverage.
A 3-ball, 2-strike count. 9th pitch coming up in this at bat to Ramirez from Andy Pettit. There'll be more. Stays at 3-2. Would that be fan interference if a ground ball goes to short and he sees the bill and misses the play?
It'd be interesting to see if a runner rounding second just reached over and picked it up on the way to third. Here comes another one. It's raining money here in Cleveland.
Oh my
Last
God.
year it was snowflakes. This year it's money.
Is this a Monopoly game? 3-2 delivery. Ooh, he thought he was struck out, but the pitch was up high. So Ramirez will draw the walk. Second given up by Andy Pettit. Good bat for Ramirez. 10 pitches to draw that walk. Jeter's looking at the money. Doesn't pick it up.
It's not real. He didn't pick it up. He checked it out, though.
Why didn't he pick it up if it's a piece of paper then? Oh well, unanswered questions. Leadoff man's on. Ramirez on at first base, and Travis Fryman takes the pitch for a ball.
Travis Fryman came up through the Detroit Tiger organization. Played for the famed manager Sparky Anderson. So Travis has a lot of old school in him, if you want to put it that way.
Which isn't all so bad.
No, it's not.
A 1-0 count. Off-speed pitch, and that's up high, and Andy Pettit stares in. He's not getting it with his fastball nor with his off-speed pitches.
And you can see by the ratio of strikes to balls there, he has been struggling with the strike zone. And these are the type of problems he had during the course of the season. This is close, but not close enough. John Shulak will make you throw it over the plate in a good spot.
Quickly back to first on that great move, Ramirez. Dino Martinez holding the bag. Andy Pettit's been touched up for 2 runs, 5 hits. He's not struck anybody out, and he has walked 2. Cleveland has the leadoff man on here in the 3rd inning. Travis Fryman was a big Yankee hitter. 364 off the Yankees this past year. And that one to third base. Brocious, they'll look for 2. Knobloch, 1 relay. Good relay, but he didn't get it there in time. Good attempt on the takeout slide by Ramirez, but Knobloch made a nice pivot. They get the force out. There's one of those fielder's choices right there.
Yeah, you're right. There's one of those fielder's choices because Brocious took the choice of throwing the ball to second. Ground ball to third. When Pettit is on, he gets a lot of ground balls to Brocious and Jeter on the left side of the infield. Here's the ground ball to Brocious. Now, this play took a little bit too long to develop. The ball was hit not so hard. That's why they couldn't turn a double play. So Fryman scurries down the line at first, beats the relay. Manny Ramirez is out at second, so Fryman reaches on the fielder's choice.
Jim Thome, first ball hitting, left field, Spencer. Thome, who had a home run his first time up, flies out here. That's the second out of the inning, leaving Fryman on at first base with 2 down. And Mark Whitten will face Andy Pettit.
So after the opening walk, which usually spells trouble, Andy Pettit just 1 out away getting out of this inning without any damage. He's facing Mark Whitten, who hit 6 home runs this year, but as a switch hitter, Whitten did not hit any right-handed.
Whitten was strong both ways, and he lines that one to right field, but again right at him, Paul O'Neill. So the leadoff walk does not come back to haunt Andy Pettit. No runs, no hits, a base runner left on. We've completed 3 here in Game 3 of the American League Championship Series. Welcome back to the Jake, everybody. Did you know Atlanta Braves first baseman Andres Galarraga not only makes errors in key situations, but he loves to paint? Or that Boston Red Sox shortstop Nomar Garcia-Perez is a big soccer fan? Well, if you'd like to know all that stuff, all you got to do is watch Baseball Max. Each week, bring you the highlights from the American and National Leagues, along with player profiles, instruction, and much more. It's Baseball Max. Check your local listings for the times in your country. Galarraga did not have a good night for the Atlanta Braves defensively in their loss to San Diego last night in a big, very Atlanta-like inning. San Diego pulled ahead behind Kevin Brown and picked up the win in Game 2 in Atlanta. They have the day off today and head back for Game 3, 4, and 5 in San Diego, with Game 3 tomorrow. Many of you will be seeing. Tino Martino continues his postseason struggles as a New York Yankee. Saw the 0 for 10. He has just not been able to hit in postseason with a Yankee uniform on. 1 for 19, no walks or RBIs against left-handed pitches in 3 postseasons. And overall, 25 postseason games. Look at that average.
Well, he leads the Yankees in home runs and RBIs since coming to the Yankees in '96, but postseason has been a completely different story for Tino Martinez. Look at that big drop-off.
That is an amazing negative downturn for a really fine major league hitter. Bartolo Colon down low with that one. And the count goes full. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Martinez.
Tino likes the ball up and out over the plate, but he's dealing with a plus fastball here.
Got him. 2 strikeouts for Bartolo Colon.
You would think leading off the inning on a 3-2 pitch, you'd get a pretty good pitch to hit. Tino Martinez did. Just swung through it. Looked like it was a changeup. Yeah, here's the difference. You see how he's got all of his fingers on the ball. It's a 3-2 changeup. And strikes out Tino Martinez. That would have me shaking my head going back to the bench.
Martinez not expecting that pitch. Chili Davis fouls back the fastball. Strike 1 on Davis. Davis had to walk his first time up.
I remember doing that in Detroit, striking out on a 3-2 changeup from a rookie pitcher. Now I went back to the bench and started screaming at him. I just said, you're not that smart.
How dare you throw that?
Yeah, 3-2 changeup leading off an inning.
Right-hander's only 23 years old. What he's trying to do, obviously, is work on something. Get the hitters honest at the plate so they just aren't sitting on his fastball.
Young Mr. Colon from Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic. I don't know if you've ever been there. I've been there. Beautiful place. Resort area on the northern part of the island.
One ball, 1 strike count. And the fastball missed inside low. 2 balls, 1 strike on Chili Davis. Bartolo Colon, a couple of walks, a couple of strikeouts. Davis, the designated hitter, with Raines riding the bench. Darryl Strawberry, of course, did a lot of that work for the Yankees this year. He's happily to say recovering from the operation on colon cancer, and the results they got yesterday on the tests after the operation were good news for him. They did not find any further evidence of the cancer having spread, and that with any luck he may return home on Sunday. That's great news.
That is good news.
3 ball, 1 strike count, and Davis is on for the 2nd time with a walk. So 3 walks, 2 of them have gone to Chili Davis. This one with 1 down in the 4th inning.
You know, Chili Davis fits right into this Yankee lineup that takes a lot of pitches. First pitch foul back, second one low for ball 2. They make pitchers work. Ball 3, and even a pitcher throws as hard as Colon, you know, eventually he's going to catch up to him throwing so many pitches. That fastball will slow down by a few miles per hour, and then that bats will start coming through the zone and catching up. 53 pitches for Colon, and we're just now at the top of the 4th inning.
Both of these starters are piling up pitches thrown in the ballgame. Runner at first base. Shane Spencer, the hitter, and outside to him, ball one. Spencer struck out his first time up. A little bit of the reality of Major League Baseball setting in for the 26-year-old rookie after the tremendous month of September that he had. That one also down low, and again Bartolo Colon struggling with a strike zone.
Shane Spencer hit well against the Cleveland Indians, but it was the last week of the season. You know, not the pressure that was that you're seeing right now. He also hit a few home runs off the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, who finished last in the league. Not to take anything away from the month that he had, but right now it's crunch time, and you're going to see the best stuff from everybody you see on the mound.
It's not the same. 2-0 pitch, and Bartolo Colon not close on any of those three pitches. 3-0. Indians with a 2-1 lead.
3 balls, no strikes. As Joe Torre just said, hey, this kid's been swinging the bat pretty well. Maybe get him on track. Give him the green light. 3-0. Maybe catch up to one of these heaters. Give the Yankees the lead.
Fastball is there for a strike. Not down the middle though. Pitch towards the outside part of the plate. 3-1.
Now he's looking at Willie Randolph, third base coach. Somewhere in there is a sign, and it might tell him whether Chili Davis is on the move. I would not expect Chili to be running, although the Yankees like to send their runners in 3-1 counts to stay out of double plays.
3-1, runner not going. Swung on and missed. He chased high heat that time. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Now, one of the reasons I didn't think he would be going, because Bartolo Colon is a swing and a miss pitcher. He throws so hard that you'll have a swing, you can't catch up to it. Might have been ball 4. And now we'll watch Chili even closer on a 3-2 pitch, because Chili Davis is not the young Chili Davis of old with the San Francisco Giants, who can't steal the base. He just can't do that now.
This is the 5th 3-2 count Bartolo Colon has had in this game. Shane Spencer, runner not going, grounded towards short. Vizquel, turn 2. Vizquel to Wilson, over to Jim Thome. They have turned 2 big double plays in this ball game. He faces only 3 in the inning. Indians up 2-1.
No one in the world can catch ESPN in bringing you the best in auto racing. The Kart FedEx Championship Series has superstars like Alcs and Brazilians Fittipaldi and Ferrin. South American Formula 3 has the best young drivers in the next generation of racing superstars. Thrills and spills are always around the corner in Indy Lights Championship action. Auto racing like no one else all year long on ESPN.
The Senior PGA Tour presents the 1998 Emerald Coast Classic. The Moores Club in Milton, Florida was the scene as a couple of hungry Senior PGA Tour players were trying to quench victory droughts. Dana Quigley, searching for his second senior triumph, was locked in a battle down the stretch with Senior Tour veteran Jim Colbert. Colbert, winless since the 1996 Raley's Gold Rush Classic, matched Quigley shot for shot throughout the back 9. But at the home hole, Quigley drained a 33-foot birdie putt to break the logjam. Congratulations, Dana Quigley, the 1998 Emerald Coast Classic champion.
It will grip him in childhood. It may even be passed on to him from one of his parents. It will stay with him like a shadow until the day when his heart is too old and weak to take the punishment he will inflict on it. To satisfy his craving, he will do whatever he has to. At times, the real world will cease to exist. He is the fan. Sports is his addiction. ESPN. Want to try some?
During the regular season, in which the Yankees won 7 of the 11 games these teams played, the 2 teams split 3-3 games played here in Cleveland. As we mentioned earlier, the Yankees have had a fine record here. Pretty good picture right there. Picture of history. Somebody had to go get that blown up. That's a Kinko. The 24-hour office on the street in the United States. Sandy Alomar with a 1-strike count. Alomar with a big chop to Jeter. 1 down.
I noticed Alomar going down the line, and he was not running very well. You see him headed back to the dugout. That knee is obviously bothering him. And you hate to see anybody playing under 100% conditions, but this is Sandy Alomar as he comes to the postseason here. Yeah, he can run a lot better than that. Girardi's actually beating him down the line.
Alomar has played hurt, getting back after the injury at the last part of the season, but really struggling. He's had only 4 hits and 22 at-bats in the postseason, and had a disastrous last month in which he batted under 200.
Yeah, but his experience calling pitches behind the plate is almost, you can't measure that.
Well, he's got to be there for that job. Enrique Wilson, youngster getting the start at second base in this game, came through with an RBI single. Only 23 years old. Pops that one up first base. Martinez, and Tino Martinez puts that one away. Wilson retired. 2 quick outs for Andy Pettitte here in the 4th inning. Remember, the Yankee starters posted an incredible 86 wins during the regular season. Their starters were all but untouchable. I mean, they went deep into games. Bullpen only had to work an inning or 2 at most. Enormous numbers for their starters. Andy Pettitte part of that, being 16 and 11. Kenny Lofton, and Lofton takes a breaking ball down low, ball 1. Again, they move in at third on Lofton. Brocious at third base. Lofton 0 for 2 in this game, 1 for 12 against the Yankees in the series. This one is foul.
See, that's the difference between Lofton and Knobloch, I think. Knobloch, I can't recall him this year laying down a bunt or trying to beat one out. But Lofton, watch when he gets it down, how quickly he gets out of the boxes and going the other way. Look at this. Doesn't take him long to accelerate. Foul ball. He has to come back.
27 bunts during the regular season, 4th most in the American League. And that speed is the reason why.
Even with Brocious in on the grass, he's not afraid to. He knows if he lays down a good one, he's not going to get him.
Since he's not hitting otherwise, why not give it a whirl? Chops this one foul. 1 ball, 2-strike count on Lofton now with 2 down.
Now with the 2 strikes, Brocious can drop back at third, because if Lofton tries to lay down a bunt and fouls off another one, that's a strikeout. If the ball goes foul.
1-2 delivery, and that will take care of that. Kenny Lofton set down in a 1-2-3 inning. The first 1-2-3 inning Andy Pettitte's been able to come away with. He's retired 6 straight now after the rocky start he had, but Cleveland leads. Cleveland Indians in a series tied at 1 apiece have the 2-1 lead in game 3 on their home turf. Bartolo Colon 3 walks and 2 strikeouts so far in the ball game. Yankees have a run on 3 hits off him, and Scott Brocious leads it off. Girardi and then Knobloch to follow. Check swing, strike called.
Mentioned Sandy Alomar's knee and how much it's bothering. He wears one of those knee savers behind his left knee. You can see it there, that blue thing, and he keeps that knee from kind of bending too far. He says he could not catch without that, because what would happen, his knee would swell up and he wouldn't be able to play the next game. So that kind of saves. See how he sits back on it, keeps that knee from extending too far.
Rounded to short, Vizquel. And Brocious is 0 for 2.
Let's go back to the first inning. The Yankees actually opened up the scoring. It was Bernie Williams with a single left field that scored. Chuck Knobloch made it 1-0. The Indians in the second came back. First of all, a leadoff home run by Jim Thome. That tied the score at 1-1. Mark split and double. Eventually got the third with one out, with the infield drawn in. Enrique Wilson single. That's where we stand. It's 2-1.
There's Tomey, who had the homer and swung on and missed by Joe Girardi. Girardi had a single in his first at bat. Both of these pitchers somewhat erratic here in this start. Each inning a little different. Not a lot of consistency. Bartolo Colon with a 2-1 lead at the moment. Fastball caught the outside corner, 0-2.
The thing about both of these pitchers, Bartolo Colon and Andy Pettitte, if this series should go 7 games, these would be the guys you would see on the mound. It would be their turn.
Fans applauding for the strikeout. Broken bat, ground ball, third base. Fryman makes the play. The barrel of that bat ended up in the seats. Wow, it went right over the Cleveland dugout. That's what Colon is looking at because somebody was injured. 2 down.
Here's the pitch in on the hands of Girardi, and you can see that's very dangerous with the barrel of the bat. Whether it flies onto the field, you'll see players avoid it, but a couple of people were hit by that just over the Indians dugout, or just to the left side of it, and they're being tended to.
Got over there in a hurry.
That's why you got to watch the ball game when you're sitting that close, whether it's a baseball or a broken bat.
2 down, bases empty. Chuck Knobloch. Knobloch single and scored in the first inning. Popped out in his second at bat.
You know, and in this era of litigation, if you read your ticket, the small print at the bottom says you're in here under your own risk.
And it can be risky when you're in those seats. Girardi hit that ball with a broken bat. Concerned. Another broken bat. Blooper. Vizquel bare hands it. Didn't get him. Tomey tried to come off the bag to help out. The ball not hit hard enough, and Knobloch is on.
Vizquel almost with a wonderful play. He realized that he didn't have time to catch it with the glove. He's been known to barehand bad hops. He barehands this one knowing he's going to have to hustle. Behind the bag at second. There's the throw. Knobloch, hey, looks like he might have been out. Let's look at it again. There's the throw. As Vizquel follows the plate, he can't believe the call. Smooth as silk at shortstop. The throw on the first, and Tomey dropped the ball. Tomey dropped the ball. He would have been out.
Derek Jeter takes the pitch outside for a ball. They have credited a hit on that. That could be changed after the official scorer sees that replay. Tomey might end up being charged with an error. 2 down, runner at first base. Indians have the 2-1 lead. Derek Jeter, 5th leading hitter in the league during the regular season. Takes the pitch. It's a little bit low and away to him.
Now with the Yankees down by a run, Knobloch, of course, led the team in stolen bases with 31. Looks like Colon gets rid of the ball fairly quickly, and as hard as he throws, he might be tough to steal on.
He has worked on that move because it was not good last year in the minors in picking people off or even holding them close, which is really what you want. Did not have a good move, and base runners got big jumps on. Derek Jeter at the plate. Jeter off the fist. Omar Vizquel will go to first. Running throw, and he got him. Mercy, he can play. Vizquel already has 6 assists and 1 putout in this ball game at short. Can you say Gold Glove? A 2-1 lead for the Cleveland Indians, and Omar Vizquel will be leading it off after making that fine defensive play. Chris Jensen from New Zealand emailed us. We were talking about Gold Gloves, and this guy at the plate likely to win another one. Squares to bunt, fouls it off. We thank him for fouling that off so we can talk about this. Chris Jansen wanted to know, Kenny, is a gold glove awarded to each fielding position each year, and what does a person have to do to receive it?
Yeah, usually that means you have the best fielding percentage. That's not always true, although in Vizquel's case this year that should work for him because he only made 5 errors during the course of the year. That means you recognize that your position as being the best fielder in the league. And it's the coaches and managers who vote on that.
So a gold glove team is announced at the end of each year for both the American and the National Leagues, with a gold glover at each position.
It's the Rawlings company which makes gloves and hands out the gold glove. And if there's a case that there are 2 players that are very close, makes sense. The guy who uses the Rawlings glove gets the gold glove.
I can't believe that.
That's true.
There's one of those right there. Derek Jeter's glove. Omar Vizquel ahead on the count here. 3 balls, 1 strike.
Here's a look at Jeter with the Rawlings label on the glove. Now there are several other glove companies.
Takes a strike on the outside corner. 3-2.
And they all make fine products.
So any of you who have gloves you want to send to Kenny, just
there's Andy Pettitte using a Wilson.
3-2 delivered to Omar Vizquel, and he lines that one to center. Bernie Williams. Vizquel retired. First time Pettitte's been able to get him out after a walk and a single.
Another part of that question was about the Cy Young Award too, that came from New Zealand. And Chris, we'd like to tell you, he wanted to know, what is the Cy Young Award? It's given to the pitcher annually, 1 in each league, who's considered the best pitcher that season. And it can be difficult to choose. There's a lot of candidates. A lot of people feel that David Wells or David Cohn of the Yankees might win. I feel that it's going to be Roger Clemens of the Toronto Blue Jays who will win for the 5th time. And nobody has ever done that. Doc Gooden, who will pitch tomorrow for the Indians, won one early in his career with the New York Mets.
Gooden's going to make the start against his former team tomorrow. We'll have that game for you from the Jake here in Cleveland.
And people might want to know who is Cy Young. David Cohn won one early in his career. Cy Young pitched for both the Cleveland Indians and the Boston Red Sox and won the most games in Major League history, 511. That will never happen again.
So they named the award for the pitcher after the winningest pitcher career-wise in Major League history. 2 former New York Mets, now members of the New York Yankees and Cleveland Indians. And of course, Doc Gooden on the left did play for the Yankees before coming to Cleveland. David Justice, a slow tapper. Chuck Knobloch, barehanded. Good play. Justice retired, and there are 2 down.
Well, he saw Vizquel with a bare hand play, Knobloch with one. And one reason why this play was successful, because the ball came up on a nice hop for him. Watch him charge and get the good hop to make the play on. Times it just so the ball is right there about knee high, turns and throws out David Justice for out number 2. This will be the 8th Indian set down in a row by Andy Pettitte, so he might be starting to get into a little bit of a rhythm and quiet down that Yankee bullpen. There's a good throw, good play by Knobloch.
Indians are not hitting the ball against Pettitte anywhere near as hard as they were in the first 2 innings of this ball game. Indians got both of their runs in that 2nd inning, homered by Jim Thome in the Enrique Wilson RBI single. Manny Ramirez, 1 strike count, 2 down. Indians leading 2-1. That one to right field could be trouble. Way back. Goodbye. Home run. Manny Ramirez does it again. His 4th postseason home run this year and the 13th of his career, 4th most in Major League history. And the Indians have a 3-1 lead.
Yeah, when he's swinging the bat well, there's really no place to pitch it. This is out over the plate. He goes the other way. Power to all fields. Pitches inside. You saw in the first game of the series, he homered to left. He's just a solid hitter who's getting better and better. Here's the reaction of Andy Pettitte. Ball down the right field line and into the seats for a home run. What a ball player. Improving his whole game.
So 2 home runs in the ball game off Pettitte, one by a right-hander, Ramirez, one by the left-hander, Jim Thome. 3 runs, 6 hits for the Indians. And Ramirez taking advantage of a fairly short porch if you get it down that line and right. 1 ball, 2 strike delivery, and the slider misses inside to Travis Fryman. Cleveland has now out-homered the Bronx Bombers 4-1 in this series. Pettitte comes inside and missed with it. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Ramirez with 3 career home runs now off Andy Pettitte. And it came with 2 down. Pettitte's got the 3-2 count here. Fryman, changeup is up high. 3rd walk off Pettitte.
Well, the 2 hitters we mentioned that give him problems, Manny Ramirez and Travis Fryman. After giving up the home run to Ramirez, pitching carefully to Fryman and walks him, but that'll bring up Jim Thome, who's already homered in this ballgame. We're going to update the postseason home runs as we look at Mickey Mantle, who had 18, Reggie Jackson 18, Babe Ruth, Manny Ramirez, and Yogi Berra. As we mentioned the other day, the others outside of Manny Ramirez, all Yankees, although Reggie played with the Oakland A's and hit some postseason home runs.
Now Jim Thome again, fly ball deep right field, may have gotten a little under. O'Neill, goodbye, home run, just made it. A 2-run homer, 2nd home run of the game for Jim Thome.
Joe Torre telling Mel Stoudemire, get on the phone, get somebody else up. Indians have gone to the long ball. Jim Thome, who at one time this year was the odds-on favorite to win the most valuable player in the American League, was hit by a pitch in August, broke his hand, and kind of blew that out of the window because he couldn't complete the regular season. He missed 35 games. He's been struggling since coming back, but not tonight. He has answered the bell with 2 home runs, 2 long ones.
He was 1 for 8 in this series prior to the 2 home runs he's hit here tonight. And Andy Pettitte has given up 3.
Jim Thome gives a lot of credit for his good hitting to his batting coach, Charlie Manuel. And if that name sounds familiar to our fans watching in Japan, Charlie Manuel played in Japan for the Yakult Swallows and the Kintetsu Buffaloes and was the first American to win a Most Valuable Player award.
Pettitte trying to get the 3rd out. 5 runs, 7 hits now for the Indians. They've had 3 home runs and a double for extra base hits off Andy Pettitte, who has walked 3 in the game. And that walk for Travis Fryman in this inning came around to score ahead of Jim Thome on that homer. 5-1 lead. Whitten has doubled and flied out to right field. Mark Whitten, he drills it. Foul.
Now, a lot of times they say following a walk, look at that first pitch to be right there, and it was, and Thome jumped on it. So Thome hit a 3-1 pitch for a homer and hit the first pitch following a walk for a home run. Ramiro Mendoza is throwing in the Yankee bullpen.
And Andy Pettitte's down low. 3 ball, 1 strike count on Witten. During the regular season, the Cleveland Indians used the long ball, but more in the middle of the pack. They were 7th in the American League in home runs. That one drill, that's gone. Oh, baby, way back, goodbye. What a shot by Witten.
They're going to run out of ammunition for the exploding scoreboard out there. This ball was crushed by Witten.
There have been 3 home runs by the last 4 Cleveland batters after Andy Pettitte had retired 8 in a row. He got 2 out in this inning, and he could not get the 3rd. And Andy Pettitte is gone.
He is shell-shocked. It had that sound. Witten knew it was gone. And yet another 4-run inning against Andy Pettitte.
You mentioned earlier that has been the problem for Andy Pettitte all year, the big inning. 10 times during the year, he allowed 4 or more runs in an inning 10 times. It's happened again. Cleveland 6, New York 1. They are really rocking the Jake now. A 6-1 lead for the Indians in a series tied at 1 apiece. We will be right back here tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern Time, 11:30 Greenwich Mean Time for Game 4. El Duque will be going for the New York Yankees. Lando Hernandez will take on Doc Gooden, the former Yankee, pitching now for the Cleveland Indians. There are the 2 starters for tomorrow.
El Duque in Cuba growing up, his favorite pitcher, Doc Gooden.
It's to face him tomorrow. George Steinbrenner, owner of the New York Yankees. That pretty much sums up the score of this game from a New York perspective.
Yeah, grew up in Cleveland, though, so he's got allegiances a little bit on the Cleveland side.
No, he doesn't.
No.
Strike on the outside corner to Paul O'Neill. 0-2 from Bartolo Colon.
Be interesting to see how Colon works with a big lead here. 5-run lead. I think from a pitcher standpoint, I've heard other pitchers mention this. You got to work as if it's a 1-0 game. Just pitch your game.
O'Neill fouls it back. He has grounded out and walked in his 2 plate appearances so far tonight. Bartolo Colon gave up the run to Steinbrenner's Indians in the 1st inning on the Bernie Williams single. Bartolo Colon has settled in. It's not been a really consistent night for him. Steinbrenner's Yankees jumped out to the 1-0 lead, but the Indians came back in the 2nd inning to get 2. Now a 2-strike count on O'Neill. Lines at the center field, lofted over.
That ball was scorched by Paul O'Neill, but a solid line drive out to center field. Can't hit it any harder, but you can't steer him after you hit it.
We told you the National League Championship Series will be moving to San Diego. In Atlanta last night, Bobby Cox's club lost.
They lost to Kevin Brown 3-0. Struck out 11 last night. Right now in the postseason, Kevin Brown is the best pitcher going. Had a 16 strikeout game against the Houston Astros, and then struck out 11 more San Diego Padres last night. I think his ERA is like 0.2.
Cy Young Award winner Greg Maddux will try and right the ship in San Diego for Atlanta. He's the starter for Game 3. Bernie Williams up, 1 ball, 1 strike count with 1 down, nobody on. Many of you will be seeing that ball game. We'll be back here for Game 4 here at the Jake tomorrow night. 1-1 pitch is on the inside corner. 1-2.
Good movement on that fastball, and it looks as though Bartolo Colon is deciding to make Bernie Williams hit an inside fastball. Remember the first inning? He singled on a pitch out over the plate, and into left field it drove in a run. Now he's going to use the other half of the plate and not watch it.
And a slow chopper. Bartolo Colon waiting. Two down. The other thing I'm impressed with here, Kenny, on the part of Bartolo Colon, he seems very calm. He slowed the game down a little bit. He's not hurrying. He's taking his time between pitches. Gets the ball back, stands there a second, gets ready.
I think his confidence has been helped out by the fact that his teammate scored 4 for him last inning, and in such an impressive fashion with 3 home runs to do it. Getting a lot of ground ball outs, 13 of them tonight.
And Martinez up. 2 down, nobody on. Tino Martinez trying to get out of the 0 for. 0 for 2 tonight, 0 for 11 in this series. 5 for 22 in this playoff year, and right now it's 5 for 23, and he's still got an 0 for. Bartolo Colon comes out in a workmanlike manner and retires. The Yankees in order. Their owner not happy. The Indians have the 6-1 lead. Cleveland's got the 6-1 lead. Their fans have had a lot to rock on with here at the Jacobs Field. Mendoza, and fouled off by Enrique Wilson. Mendoza came on to get the final out and to stay on here for the Yankees.
Mendoza, a very good sinker ball. Young man from Los Santos, Panama. When he's working well, you see ground ball after ground ball out, much in the same way that Colon has done today.
Enrique Wilson, the 23-year-old from Santo Domingo, where he was born, still lives. Chopped that one foul, and it's a 1-ball 2-strike count. He had an RBI single in the second inning. Grounded out, popped down his last time up.
The feeling by the Indians is that Wilson is a better hitter right-handed.
Again, the inside-out swing. So he had a ball jamming him that time, and a 1-ball 2-strike count.
A lot of talk here in Cleveland about upgrading the second base position. Now, I know they have Joey Cora. Joey Cora is a free agent. Enrique Wilson's just a rookie, and the talk is that Roberto Alomar might sign here with the Indians and play with his brother Sandy.
Just make a better team stronger.
Well, John Hart, the GM of the Indians, feels that the second base position can be an offensive position. There's Joey Cora, who was picked up by Cleveland towards the end of the year to try and help them through the playoffs.
Enrique Wilson reached for that one. Spencer over and left, will not get to it. It is a foul ball. Enrique Wilson is a shortstop by minor league trade, and a very good one. Baseball America, the publication here in the United States that rates minor league players each year, has named him as the best defensive shortstop at every minor league level he has played at. But of course, here with Omar Vizquel at short, he's not going to play short.
And the footwork is not quite the same at second base. It's a little bit tougher turning to double play. You don't get a chance to see the runner coming, and he's had to make an adjustment playing second, and it hasn't been the best at times. But you're right, Omar's here. You're not going to play much shortstop.
Got a Gold Glover in front of you. Pitch is outside. A 2-ball 2-strike count on Enrique Wilson. Vizquel hoping do something in this inning at bat. Watching Wilson at the plate. 2-2. Williams in center field. One away here in the bottom half of the 6th inning.
In fact, there was a game against the Yankees. It was a line shot to Wilson, made a great play, and Sandy Alomar Jr. went over to Omar and told him, now you're trade bait.
Danger. Major League Baseball returns to the land of the rising sun next month. Slammin' Sammy Sosa, strikeout king Curt Schilling, and the Red Sox phenom Nomar Garciaparra. They lead the Major League Baseball All-Stars against their Japanese counterparts. The '98 Japan Tour moving to Tokyo, Osaka, Fukuoka, which Kenny remembers well. Ground ball towards second base. Backhand play and a good one by Nava. We remind you that tour in Japan, November 6th through 15. You can check your local broadcaster for the time and date in your area. And, in regards to that, we want to welcome those of us joining tonight in Taiwan on TVIS and in Korea on ITV.
How about our man in Taiwan, Dean Yuan, who we'll see during the World Series, and look forward to seeing Dean in person.
One-man show.
Yes, he is. He's excellent. He's like the Gary Thorne of Taiwan.
No, I got you. He doesn't have you. Omar Vizquel. 2 down, bases empty. That one looped towards the Bermuda Triangle. Base hit. Williams will pick it up and hold him to a single. And Vizquel's been on 3 of the 4 times he's been up. 2 singles and a walk.
And whenever Vizquel reaches base, of course, the threat of the stolen base comes in, even with the fact that the Indians are up by 5. This is a broken bat looper. About evenly placed between Knobloch, O'Neill, and Bernie Williams, who eventually will pick it up. When you're a hitter, you love to see balls like that fall in because it looks like the whole ballpark and all the fans have a chance to catch it, but nobody can get it.
That'll keep the inning alive, and David Justice will be up with 2 down, and Mendoza's pitch is inside low for a ball. 2 away. 9 hits now for the Indians in the game. Justice 1 for 6 lifetime off Mendoza. That 1 hit, a home run. That catches the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Mendoza has a good sinker. I mentioned the ground ball outs. He also has a good breaking ball and an excellent changeup. He made a lot of starts for the Yankees this year. He's also worked out of the bullpen. A very versatile pitcher. When they were talking about trading for Randy Johnson around the trade deadline, one of the reasons the Yankees did not make the deal because the Mariners wanted Ramiro Mendoza, and he's just too valuable to the Yankee club. If one of the starters goes down, he's the man who will make the starts.
Missed outside as a starter. He was 6-1 with a 3.87 earned run average. As a reliever, he was 4-1 and picked up a save. And as a reliever, his earned run average was 1.93. That's pretty good both ways.
Yeah, at the beginning of the year, he was in the rotation. When El Duque came up from the minors, he went to the bullpen. David
Justice fights it off. And with 2 down, the count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ramiro Mendoza gave up 9 home runs during the regular season, combined as a starter and a reliever. Vizquel the lead at first base. He's running. Justice, ground ball to second. Knobloch, and Justice is retired. So in the 6th inning, no runs, a base hit, and 1 left on. The Cleveland Indians in this series that is tied at 1-1 have the 6-1 lead over the Yankees here in Cleveland. Welcome back, Cleveland, Ohio. This is Jacobs Field in the middle of the city, and for the New York Yankees, not a friendly place tonight. Gary Thorne, Ken Singleton. The Indians have the lead. The Yankees aren't hitting.
Yeah, the Yankees are the team that scored the most runs in the American League this year. They've been held to a .239 batting average during the course of the postseason. Certainly un-Yankee-like. Their fans have expected their team to score runs. They haven't been getting the job done.
And that will be an out as Chili Davis is retired. Bartolo Colon starting to mow him down here. That is the 3rd straight comebacker that Bartolo Colon has been able to handle. You see the 14 ground ball outs, only 2 strikeouts. But when you keep the ball down on the ground, with the defense that he has behind him, he's going to get the outs that he needs. One away, 7th inning.
It's been a very impressive performance for Bartolo Colon to this point. Of course, he's backed by a very strong Cleveland bullpen. The Yankees are down to what, 8 outs? Yeah.
Cleveland bullpen just watching for now. Shane Spencer. He's had an 0 for 2, struck out, hit into a double play. The defense of the Indians has been very effective here tonight, turning 2 double plays to end innings, consecutive innings, in fact, in the 3rd and 4th. That pitch a little bit low and away by Bartolo Colon. Colon had 6 complete games during the regular season, with the likes of those behind him: Vizquel, Wilson, Fryman. There's Wilson at second base. Fouled off. Pitcher can afford to let the opposition hit the ball.
Yes, he can. In fact, when you look at Fryman, Vizquel, and Wilson in the infield, all 3 of them basically have been shortstops. Fryman was a shortstop when he first came up with the Detroit Tigers. Vizquel, a Gold Glover. Wilson is basically a shortstop who's now playing second.
2 ball, 2 strike count. That's the way it'll stay. Remember, the Yankees over the last 5 years have gone 18-8 in this ballpark. Postseason, however, for Joe Torre's Yankees have not been that favorable. They've struggled to get some wins here in Cleveland in the postseason after those big numbers in regular season games. Towering pop-up behind the mound. Vizquel, shortstop. Two down. Six in a row retired now by Bartolo Colon. It's dangerous.
Carey. That's our cameraman Carey over there, and took a shot to the head.
Ooh.
But it's still standing. It had a standing 8 count, but it's all right. We'll continue.
You can play hurt, but you can't play injured.
No.
So he's hurt. Bartolo Colon away to Scott Brocious. A dangerous business.
Yeah. Oh. You notice he didn't give up the camera, though. What do those things run? What do they cost about?
I have no idea, really. Yeah. 20,000? 25, 30?
Our director, John Moore. John will give us the.
Okay.
He'll give us the number. Those things, you know, it's like driving a few expensive cars, though. I know that.
Yeah. Scott Brocious. And a 3-0 count on Scott Brocious. Ouch.
We've just been handed a note that Carey's nickname is Ball Magnet.
I don't think that's a good thing for a cameraman who's working a low camera position down on the field. You got to get high home. Carey, you got to get high home. And that one to short. Handled by Vizquel. Cleveland, they've committed only 2 errors in their 6 playoff games, and behind Bartolo Colon tonight, they haven't made one. They are playing strong, solid D. The Yankees couldn't do anything but hurt our cameraman. Still a 6-1 Indian lead.
Thank you. Morning, ESPN 644 6 4644 ESPN.
6'1", all-world from the University of Hawaii, the titan of the keyboard, His Highness of the Highlight, Larry Field.
ESPN. Thank you. Morning, ESPN.
Play like the pros with Oscar Wagner.
When you hit an approach backhand, it's better to come across the body rather than forward. When you go forward, the ball tends to fly and you lose control. Here, across the body, across. That's the way to do it. Hit across and you'll have control.
catch ESPN in bringing you the best in auto racing. The Kart FedEx Championship Series has superstars like Alcs and Brazilians Fittipaldi and Ferrin. South American Formula 3 has the best young drivers in the next generation of racing superstars. Thrills and spills are always around the corner in Indy Lights Championship action. Auto racing like no one else all year long on ESPN.
It will grip him in childhood. It may even be passed on to him from one of his parents. It will stay with him like a shadow until the day when his heart is too old and weak to take the punishment he will inflict on it. To satisfy his craving, he will do whatever he has to. At times, the real world will cease to exist. He is the fan. Sports is his addiction. ESPN. Want to try some?
Kemp's. All right.
Welcome back, everybody. Gary Thorne, Ken Singleton, and our crew. Major League Baseball International's coverage of the American League Championship Series. 7th inning stretch time completed here, and just moments ago, some help for our cameraman.
Kerry Kemp's. They're thinking of him in the dugout. He's going to get a mask. I mentioned the fact that he didn't give up the camera. And those cameras are worth $125,000 each. It's like not giving up the ship. A captain. The
economy may be hurting a bit, but those prices keep going up.
Yeah, all right. He's ready now. Way to go, Kerry.
Manny Ramirez. Center field. Williams back. Way back. Goodbye. Take it back. Bernie Williams played it beautifully. The ball missed at the yellow line. And Ramirez, who thought he had one, and so did I, ends up at second base. He was watching going down to first. He thought that was out of here, and I thought he had it too.
Well, the way Bernie Williams played it, Bernie played it like he knew he wasn't going to catch it. And he picked on the furthest part of this ballpark. As you mentioned, out near that corner is about 410 feet. And he hit it, I'd say about 407 to the top of the wall there as it comes back. Didn't miss by much. My goodness. Indians got the long ball power working tonight.
Right off the yellow. So Ramirez gets the double. He is tagging the ball. He's got a double, a single, and a home run and a walk. He has been on all 4 times.
Here's the pitch. So he knows he's clocked it now. He was in the Boston series. He did run hard and only got a single on the ball that hit off the wall and was chastised somewhat for not hustling. This one, he thought about it, but it's a good thing that it kind of bounced it not directly back to Bernie Williams, and that enabled Ramirez to get the second.
So the Cleveland Indians are pouring it on tonight. That's their 10th hit in the game. Good play by Bernie Williams off that center field wall. Runner on at second base. 6 extra base hits in the game, including 4 home runs off the starter Andy Pettitte of the Yankees. And now Fryman with a runner in scoring position and nobody out. 0 for 2 and a walk. He has scored a run in this game. New York without an extra base hit tonight. And that missed inside. Coming into this game, Cleveland was batting just 196 in the postseason and 178 in this series.
There's Charlie Manuel, the hitting coach, talking with Mark Whitten. And there's the same Charlie Manuel as the MVP in Japan in 1979.
A rip shot foul into the seats off the bat of Fryman.
6 years in Japan for Charlie Manuel playing ball. I mentioned for the Kintetsu Buffaloes and the Yakut Swallows. First American to be named MVP. In 6 years, he hit 192 home runs. Averaged 32 a year.
He's loving this attack by the Indians. Off the fists, out of the reach of Jeter. Ramirez had to wait to see if that ball was going to fall in, so he'll stop at third. 2 on, nobody out.
Charlie Manuel's got to like this hitting. His team has their hitting shoes on tonight. That's their 10th hit in the ball game. And one thing about Charlie Manuel, he had quadruple bypass surgery during the course of this season and is back coaching and the hitters of the Cleveland Indians. Here's a look at the hit by Travis Fryman. Just out of the reach of Derek Jeter. You mentioned Manny Ramirez had to hold up, make sure the ball was not caught, so he can only advance one base. So amazing medical technology. Had a mild heart attack during the course of this year, underwent quadruple bypass surgery, and is now back with the ball club since about the beginning of September.
And looks great.
Yep.
Joe Torre is on his way out with Mike Stanton ready in the bullpen. With Jim Thome, the left-handed hitter, due up. Torre's going to make the move. Well, the Yankee pitchers have not been able to silence the Indian bats. Cleveland leads at 6-1. 4 home runs for the Cleveland Indians in this ball game tonight, so Mike Stanton will come on in relief to face Jim Thome, who's been a major part of the Dinger parade here tonight.
Yeah, Thome has 2 of the home runs hit by the Indians, leading off the second inning. Caught a hold of an Andy Pettitte 3-1 pitch, drove it deep into the Indians bullpen, or almost to it. Then in the 5th inning, following a walk, the first pitch he saw from Pettitte, he drives into the right field seats. Jim Thome hit 30 home runs during the regular season. Has added 2 more on tonight.
So the Yankees will try and cut off the Indian attack here with runners at first and third. Nobody out. The infield will be drawn in. 4 home runs tonight, tying the all-time mark for an American League Championship Series. Ramirez at third. Fryman at first.
Yeah, fans might be wondering why the Yankees are bringing the infield in. They can't afford to give up any more runs.
Jim Thome against the left-hander Mike Stanton. And the pitch is down low for a ball. 31-year-old left-hander. Numbers on the year.
You notice the 6 saves. Early in the season, the Yankee closer Mariano Rivera went on the disabled list with a pulled groin. Stanton took over the role as closer and was outstanding.
It's the strike on the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike on Jim Thome. Yankees down 6-1. 11 hits for the Indians. First 2 on in the 7th inning. Thome trying to add another RBI. He's got 3 in the game. Down to first, runner holds. Martinez will play it to the bag. So they have the infield drawn in to prevent that run. Ramirez from crossing, and on that at bat, it works. Thome is out number 1.
Fryman moves down to second base. So now it's second and third and 1 out. The Yankees are going to keep the infield in, but they're going to walk Mark Whitten.
This will be the intentional pass to Mark Whitten. It'll load the bases up. Joe Torre using the strategy with Enrique Wilson, the rookie who was batting in the number 9, Alomar rather. Alomar coming up after Whitten, then Wilson, and Alomar, as we've seen, struggling at the plate. It'll also mean they've got a force-out opportunity at the plate with only 1 away.
Now it depends on how Joe Torre wants to set up his defense. He might want to lead them back and go for the double play. We saw how poorly Sandy Alomar was running. So if you get him to hit the ball on the ground, more often than not, you're going to be able to turn 2.
And we'll see how he plays it. This copyrighted telecast, the property of the Office of the Commissioner of Major League Baseball, is intended for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Major League Baseball is prohibited. So the infield will drop back to double play depth. Sandy Alomar has grounded out 3 times in this game. And Mike Stanton will try and get another ground ball off Alomar's bat. Ball 1. Alomar with a chance to really blow the doors off this one.
There's a look at the infield playing back with the exception of Tito Martinez at first. If the ball is hit to him, he's going to come home for the forced play at home.
Lock that one up. And put away by Girardi. So they get Alomar. Now there are 2 down.
Mike Stanton has come on and done the job thus far. But he's not quite out of the woods yet. He has one more batter to face before trying to get the final out. Sandy Alomar Jr., you know he's got to be hurting after popping up with the bases loaded. You know, his knee's hurting. His offense is hurt this year. But this guy's a former All-Star many times over. You got to have the feeling after he gets that knee straightened out, he'll be back.
Only 1 for 11 for Alomar now in this series. Stanton with a chance to get out of the 7th inning. Wilson, the switch hitter, and a strike on the outside corner.
Mentioning about Sandy Alomar one more time, that he's the only player in history to be All-Star Game MVP in his home ballpark. He did that last year.
A big thrill for both he and the Cleveland fans. Wilson a chopper foul outside of third, and Stanton goes ahead on the count, 2 strikes.
And then the All-Star game that we did this year, his brother Robbie was the All-Star game MVP for the American League in Colorado at Coors Field.
Keep it in the family.
Yeah, exactly.
For Wilson as a switch hitter, he hit .373 right-handed and .256 left-handed. Both of his home runs were hit right-handed. Swung on and missed. Mike Stanton blows it by him. So a good job by Stanton, and for the Indians, no runs even though they got the first 2 on. They leave the bases loaded. We've completed 7. Cleveland up. Going to the 8th inning, and the Yankees trying to find some power in their bats. Tomorrow right back here we will have game 4 at 7:30. Coming your way at 11:30. Greenwich Mean Time. Hernandez and Gooden are the scheduled starters in game 4. And if the Indians hang on to the lead here, they will have a 2-1 lead in the series for Doc Gooden to work with for the game tomorrow night. Jorge Posada is the pinch hitter for the Yankees. So Posada up for Girardi, the catcher, in the number 9 spot. Girardi had a single in 2 at-bats, and that one lined to first, picked clean by Thome. 1 down.
That's a move that Joe Torre has made sometimes in the course of the season when the Yankees are trailing. He'll go to the better hitter in Posada, trying to get something going, and he did hit the ball sharply, but almost directly at first baseman Jim Thome, who sticks out that big left hand and corrals the line drive off the bat of Jorge Posada.
1 down in the 8th inning. Only 4 hits for the Yankees in this game off Bartolo Colon, the starter. It looked a little shaky in the first inning. Knobloch a single, 2-out single by Williams. And the Yankees had the 1-0 lead, but Cleveland got 2 in the second off Andy Pettitte, and they have not looked back.
Colon has actually walked more men than he has struck out, but the 3 walks and the 2 strikeouts all came within the first 4 innings. So right now it looks as though I'm going to pitch, let my defense help me out, get the ball over the plate, and I think that 4-run 5th inning has really helped to settle him down.
Chuck Knobloch, who scored the only Yankee run in the first, 2 for 3 in the ball game with 2 singles. I'll tell you just how much Bartolo Colon has settled down. His pitch count, 36 pitches in the first 2 innings. 63 in the last 5 1/3. Much more effective and efficient.
Here's a guy last year in a start against the Seattle Mariners when he was struggling. 61 pitches in the first inning.
get you out of there.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Jack Knobloch trying to draw a walk here. Has a 3-1 count on him, and he gets the walk. That'll be 4 walks given up in the game by Bartolo Colon. He has not had the strikeouts going. You mentioned earlier in his appearance against the Yankees, he struck out 10 in 8 innings against them this season. He has not had the strikeouts, but nevertheless effective, and the bullpen is ready if he needs help here late in the game.
Yeah, I really think that the 4-run 5th inning took a lot of pressure off of him, and as far as, you know, not worrying so much about the baseball ball, just letting go of the ball and playing catch with Sandy Alomar Jr. in the strike zone. But now might be starting to get a little tired, and the bullpen is up. And we're going to have a visit from Mark Wiley, the pitching coach, just to slow him down a bit again.
You see that arm motion he was making. That's what we talked about earlier, how they've worked on his mechanics, his pitching delivery, and how he still struggles to get to that release point where he wants to let the ball go, get that arm where he wants it to be. And he obviously is concerned about that right now.
Well, as in early in the ball game, now after walking a hitter, he'll work from the stretch. Mechanics a little bit different. The Yankees haven't had a man pass first base since the 2nd inning. That was in Chili Davis, led off with a walk, got as far as 2nd. Well, you can see how much Bartolo Colon has made life easy for Mike Hargrove tonight.
Derek Jeter. Jeter takes the pitch outside for a ball. Jeter in the game's gone 0 for 2 rather. He did have a sacrifice in the 1st inning. Postseason average now down to 200 in this series. He's had 3 hits and 11 at bats. Yankee bats are quiet right now. Fouled off. A 2-ball 1-strike count on Derek Jeter.
Colon still getting that fastball up there over 90 miles an hour. It is Joe Girardi, had just been pinch hit for. He's probably worried more about the effort of Andy Pettit tonight and why it didn't happen.
Andy Pettit came out of there 4 2/3, 6 runs on 8 hits off him, including 4 home runs. Jeter grounds it towards second base. Nice play. Vizquel the turn. 3rd double play. The Indians have turned. Omar Vizquel the pivot, giving the glove sign to Wilson, who got him the flip. This is how it's done by a Gold Glove shortstop. 11 chances for Omar tonight. Great to have you with us. Major League Baseball International continuing our coverage of the American League Championship Series. Right back here at the Jake in Cleveland tomorrow. David Cone, 20-game winner for the Yankees. Disquieted, while the Indians feeling pretty good about it right now with a 6-1 lead. And their defense has really shined in this game.
That infield has been busy. Colon has kept the ball on the ground, and their infielders have turned 3 double plays in this game. And Enrique Wilson with a beautiful feed to Omar Vizquel. That Wilson started it, and Vizquel was the middleman, and it was just a neatly turned double play.
Bottom half of the 8th inning. Kenny Lofton leads it off. Mike Stanton stays on in relief, 3rd Yankee pitcher. Lofton would like to get it going. 0 for 4. Only 1 hit in 14 at bats in this series. And a strike on the outside corner to Lofton. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I think Mike Hargrove would breathe a lot easier with Kenny Lofton start to hit the ball a little bit better. He missed the last week or so of the season with a bad hamstring. And he makes his living with his legs, covering the ground in center field, setting the tone on the bases when he gets on. But maybe that last week off of the season kind of shut down his hitting stroke.
He's also had only 1 walk in the postseason, and he was 8th in the league in walks. That's another way that Kenny Lofton gets on to utilize his speed, and has not been able to do that either. 2 ball, 2 strike count. 31-year-old center fielder of the Indians goes down swinging. Mike Stanton gets his second strikeout, one away in the 8th inning. For the Indians ownership here tonight, this is Jake. Richard Jacobs, chairman and CEO of the Cleveland Indians. A businessman here in Cleveland, involved in a lot of real estate transactions. This is Jacobs Field. And a pitch taken down low by Omar Vizquel.
What a turnaround in the city of Cleveland. Just a few years ago, before the Jake was on the scene, they played at Municipal Stadium, which really by any stretch of the imagination was not a good ballpark to play in. But once they got Jacobs Field going, and you saw a few signs, Cleveland rocks, it does now. Jacobs Field, one of the more beautiful parks in baseball. You go back to, I mentioned Municipal Stadium, 292 consecutive regular season sellouts here in Cleveland.
And that one, a soft liner, goes foul. I don't think there was ever any question among baseball fans that once they got a facility, a decent facility to play in, which Municipal Stadium was not, this city is a great baseball city. It has been a great baseball city for over 100 years. That professional baseball has been in and out of here, including Negro League baseball that was played here. I mean, there's a long-standing tradition of supporting the game of baseball in Cleveland. They just had some really bad teams and a bad place to go watch them.
Yeah, but what happened was by getting a new stadium, it enabled them to get better players and hold on to the good ones that they had. Years ago, Cleveland was like the doormat of the American League. You came in here, if you didn't win 2 out of 3, you certainly felt you had a bad series.
Not anymore. There's John Adams, who bangs the drum, fouled off. Adams is part of Municipal Stadium that came to the new ballpark.
Yeah, but he didn't have as much company over in the other ballpark. He sits out there in the bleachers beyond the wall in left field, and it is packed. Now, when he used to sit over at Municipal Stadium, there's like 1 or 2 people up there with him.
That's right. Ground ball up the middle and a base hit. What a night for Vizquel. Omar Vizquel, that's 3 singles and a walk in 5 plate appearances, as well as being involved in 3 double plays. He's had 4 putouts and 7 assists defensively. Not much more he could do in a game. Do you know the Cleveland Indians were named after a major league player from my hometown? Louis Alcs, a Native American.
Native American who
was born and raised in Old Town, Maine, and is in fact buried there on the Indian reservation. And he was the first Native American to play Major League Baseball. Unfortunately, an alcoholism problem took him out of the game, but they loved him so much in Cleveland that after he departed Major League Baseball, the Indians were named after Louis Alcs. That's where the name comes from.
Old Town, Maine.
Old Town, Maine. Town of about 14,000 people.
Is it near Portland or any of the big cities?
It's in the middle of the state of Maine, central Maine, very small community.
Now, for those of you out there that don't know much about the state of Maine, it is the state in the United States that is 90% forested. And it
only has 1.3 million in the whole state.
The most heavily forested state in the United States.
And it's one of the largest states in the U.S.
It's beautiful.
Great state.
In fact, do you ever hear Madawaska, Maine?
Madawaska, Maine? I went with a young lady from there once in my life.
You got to be kidding me.
I am not kidding you.
That's one of the coldest places I've ever been in my life.
It is the most northern city in the state of Maine.
In fact, I crossed the border back in the United States at New Brunswick.
New Brunswick,
one of the provinces of Canada.
Yes, it is.
Back in the United States, Madawaska, a wooden bridge.
Right. Still there.
Yeah. Wow.
Still there. Swung on and foul tipped into the mitt, held on to, and David Justice is retired by Mike Stanton, and there are 2 down, and Ramirez gets a big hand coming up.
Meanwhile, Mike Stanton has a pretty good fastball tonight, picking up his 3rd strikeout. So that's it for our history of the state of Maine tonight.
There aren't many of us to spread the history, so we get it on the air when we can.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about my New York State tomorrow.
There you go. Manny Ramirez, huge night. Now has 4 postseason home runs this year. Runner at first base, Vizquel. 2 down, 8th inning. Towering fly ball to center.
He didn't miss that by much.
Boy, did he get under that just a little too much, or he would add another one. Bernie Williams puts it away. No runs, a base hit. 1 left on. Down to their final 3 outs. The Yankees trailing 6-1. Major League Baseball International's presentation of the 1998 American League Championship Series being brought to you by MasterCard. Great to have you with us, everybody. At the Jake, we go to the 9th inning. The Indians leading at 6-1. Yankees down to their final 3 outs. Bartolo Colon, the 23-year-old right-hander, has gone the distance and is looking for a complete game win. Paul O'Neill, Bernie Williams, Tino Martinez due up for the Yankees in the 9th. Colon has given up just 4 hits in this game. The only run came in the first inning. He's walked 4, struck out 2, and another sellout here at the Jake. And they certainly have had a lot to cheer about tonight. Bartolo Colon beat the Yankees once this year in the regular season. Now trying to do it in the playoffs. Yankees had their 11-game win streak going back into the regular season, broken in the last game. Now the Indians are trying to make it 2 in a row. O'Neill to left field. Backed up on the warning track, and that's where it'll come down. Whitten puts it away.
Long faces on the Yankee bench. The fans are happy, of course. A lot of pressure put on El Duque. There is Derek Jeter. Speaking of the long faces. They were asking El Duque before tonight's game, how would tonight's game affect the way he pitches? He said it would have no effect whatsoever. I'm going to come out and pitch my ball game tomorrow.
1 down. Bernie Williams fouls it off. Strike 1.
The Yankees are going to need him to be on top of his game. A rookie season in which he went 12-4. They're going to have to call on some of that El Duque magic tomorrow night to even up this series against the Indians.
Bartolo Colon pitched 6 of the 9 complete games that the Indians have. Now trying to pick one up here in the postseason. For his staff, the postseason numbers-wise, not all that good coming in. They had a 4.5 earned run average as a team in the postseason coming into this game. Bartolo Colon is going to lower that.
You're looking at a young pitcher coming into his own. This particular season.
Whitten in left. 2 down.
Bartolo Colon last year, Cleveland Indians, Bartolo Colon up and down for the minor leagues 7 different times. This year had a great first half, struggled in the second, but now has picked up the pace again in the postseason. Cleveland rocks.
Colon was 9-4 at home during the regular season, 5-5 on the road. The 10th best earned run average at 3.71. 1 more out, and he's got a postseason win against New York. Cleveland leads. 0-1 count, 2 down. Chopper, Martinez to first. It is a foul ball. Tomey tried to make it fair, but couldn't do it.
Nagy gave him the effort in game 2. Bartolo Colon been passed the baton. He's doing a heck of a job tonight. David Justice, not a good night offensively, but he'll take a win any day.
The Jake is roaring here in Cleveland. 2-strike count. The last Cleveland postseason complete game. The last Indian complete game. Bob Lemon in game 1 of the 1954 World Series. Bartolo Colon is trying to join one of baseball's immortals, Bob Lemon, in that department. And he does!
Well, a major difference between that game that Bob Lemon pitched and the one that Bartolo Colon pitched tonight. Bob Lemon lost it. The Indians lost to the Giants while being swept 4 games to none in the 1954 World Series. Tonight, the Indians have taken a 2-1 lead in the series against the Yankees, the American League Championship Series.
Their bats came alive. 6 runs on 12 hits, including 4 home runs for the Cleveland Indians in this ball game tonight. 2 hit by Jim Thome, 1 by Ramirez, 1 by Mark Whitten. And Colon shut down the Yankees. A run on 4 hits. The only run they got off this 23-year-old right-hander came in the first inning. This is the end.
Blazing fastball to the outside corner, closing out the ball game in style. Yankees only had 1 hit after the 2nd inning.
So the Jake is rocking. The Cleveland Indians put the home run attack on the Bronx Bombers in this one.
Well, the Pepsi play of the game, well, there were a few of them. Manny Ramirez with a home run. We're going to make it a long distance Pepsi play of the game. Jim Thome with a home run in the 5th inning. And finally, Mark Whitten with a homer. 3 home runs off of Andy Pettitte. Those are our Pepsi plays of the game.
By winning here, the Cleveland Indians, with 2 games left here, have a chance to wrap up this series without going back to New York. Bartolo Colon, the winner. Our final score, Cleveland 6 and the Yankees 1. They lead the series 2 games to 1. We will be joining you tomorrow, as well as the National League Championship Series game that many of you will see. 4 o'clock tomorrow, 8 Greenwich Mean Time. Padres in Atlanta. That will be from San Diego. And then here at the Jake in Cleveland, tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern, 11:30 Greenwich Mean Time, Game 4 of the American League Championship Series. There's your final line on tonight's ball game. Bartolo Colon wins it. Andy Pettitte is the loser, and it was the long ball tonight that made the difference. Jim Thome celebrating for Cleveland early in it. Andy Pettitte just could not quiet the bats. Big night for Ramirez, and for Joe Torre, his club returns just in time to watch a lot of baseballs leave the Jake, including that.